This teacher is assigning homework in the chat group even while on the train. Her problem was a 6-year-old girl living on Earth. She took the train 1 kilometer south. A bear suddenly appeared in the middle of the road. The train immediately changed direction and chased the bear 1 kilometer east. Then, the train chased 1 kilometer to the north. Finally, the train brought the girl back home. The question was, what color was the bear? The problem was so confusing that chat group was in an uproar. Everyone thought it was a trick problem with no scientific answer. However, there was a boy who was very serious about solving the problem. He was Baek Sung-yu, a Korean math genius. While everyone still didn't know the answer, suddenly someone gave the answer. The answer was a white bear. Yoon-soo was so excited that she asked about this person's reasoning, but he didn't answer. She had to explain the puzzle herself. If she thought of the direction not as a plane, but as a sphere like the Earth, judging from the direction the train was moving, the final destination would be the North Pole, and polar bears have white fur. Math was like that for Yoon-soo. It was colorful and interesting, not just dry numbers like many people thought. Because of this special way of thinking, she was invited by the headmaster Jong-ah to be a lecturer so that Yoon-soo could teach the best students of the school. And Yoon-soo's trip this time was to a song school. On the train there was an uncle who kept falling asleep on her shoulder, making Yoon-soo feel uncomfortable. So she went down to the end of the train and accidentally met Baek Sung-yu, who was also there. When the bullet train passed through the tunnel, it shook slightly. It made Yoon-soo carelessly almost fall. Luckily, Baek Sung-yu caught her in time. This was their first meeting, so they both felt a little embarrassed. The two identical bags also fell to the ground. After that, Yoon-soo was given her seat by Baek Sung-yu. At that time, she was attracted by the number 1729 on his hat. When the train arrived at the stop, Yoon-soo hurriedly ran to get her luggage, but forgot her bag. Baek Sung-yu cleverly discovered it and returned the bag to her. At the same time, her future husband also arrived. He came to take her to their newlywed home. This was a gift that he had prepared in advance, so it surprised Yoon-soo a lot. Only later did she discover that her bag had been switched with the young man on the train. Out of curiosity, Yoon-soo opened Baek Sung-yu's camera to look. She discovered something interesting. The photos this young man took were all related to prime numbers and geometry. At the same time, Baek Sung-yu returned home. Later, he also discovered that he had taken the wrong bag. The next day, Baek Sung-yu proactively contacted Yoon-soo and made an appointment to exchange the bag. He got her phone number from the lost and found center that Yoon-soo had just left. She asked Baek Sung-yu to meet her tomorrow afternoon outside the opera house. The two were so busy replying to messages that they didn't notice that they had passed each other many times at school. At school, Yoon-soo took on the role of nurturing math-talented students, but she chose art drawings as the topic for the students. The assignment given by Yoon-soo was submitted first by the class president, and he was very confident that his answer couldn't be wrong. Meanwhile, the class vice president, Ye-rin, was not to be outdone. She then worked with her tutor all night long, because Ye-rin's parents were people of high status in society. Therefore, Ye-rin had to study really hard so as not to embarrass them. Her father was Sung-min. He also intended to nominate Ye-rin for the list of students to be awarded by the president. This unintentionally put a lot of pressure on Ye-rin. Although she tried her best, the answer Ye-rin gave was still incorrect. The other students were no exception. Only one person answered correctly, but no one knew who the owner of the paper was. The answer on it said that this question could not be solved because it was wrong. Yoon-soo asked the students around her, but no one dared to admit that they were the owner of the paper. She immediately ran to the security room to check the camera, but Yoon-soo discovered that it was also broken. The news of the new lecturer giving the wrong question quickly reached Jong-ah's ears. Soon after, Yoon-soo was called to the office. When facing the new lecturer, Jong-ah thought that giving wrong questions to test students was meaningless. The purpose of her invitation to teach was for Yoon-soo to train students who could do the test quickly and accurately, students who won the Olympic medal, not to learn thinking. This was completely contrary to Yoon-soo's purpose. Therefore, she was determined to find the student who solved her mathematical problem. In order to reveal the mysterious person, Yoon-soo provoked her with a note with the content of the sentence. This answer is wrong because it had no specific evidence. Indeed, this touched Baek Sung-yu's pride, so he immediately returned to school and wrote down the specific error in the problem, and the person who had answered the white bear before was also Baek Sung-yu. However, when Yoon-soo returned, the person standing in front of the answer sheet was Ye-rin. Yoon-soo happily thought that she had found that smart student. Ye-rin wanted to be recognized by the teacher, so she did not deny Yoon-soo's thoughts. After school, Baek Sung-yu went to the meeting place to wait for Yoon-soo. After a while, she also arrived. As soon as they met, Yoon-soo explained the meaning of the numbers on Baek Sung-yu's hat. 1729 is the Hardy-Ramanujan number. It is a special number in number theory. Because it is the smallest number, it can be expressed as the sum of two cubes in two different ways. After that, the two of them exchanged their bags. However, when Yoon-soo asked Baek Sung-yu if he liked math, he denied it and left immediately. Unfortunately, it suddenly started to rain. Seeing this, Baek Sung-yu turned back. He gave his only umbrella to the teacher. Too surprised by Baek Sung-yu's concern, Yoon-soo did not have time to react. At the same time, Jong-ah took the initiative to meet Ye-rin. She knew that Ye-rin's ability was not enough to find the error in the problem, problem, but still wanted Ye-rin to admit that she was the one who solved the problem. Only when Ye-rin agreed could she be nurtured into a talent by Yoon-soo. Ye-rin agreed to the proposal, but the next day, the truth was exposed. Ye-rin was called to the board to present the problem to the whole class. However, she could not solve the problem. Yoon-soo realized the reality, but did not expose it immediately. Yoon-soo waited until the whole class left. She then met Ye-rin privately to ask her about it. Only then did she admit to lying. Ye-rin's ability could not solve this problem. While Yoon-soo was having a headache looking for that special student, she accidentally watched a video of the dance club. Coincidentally, this video showed the silhouette of Bak Sung-yu solving the problem. It turned out that the person she had been looking for all this time was not far away. It was 1729 boy. Yoon-soo immediately ran everywhere to find Bak Sung-yu. Finally, she found him sleeping on a bench behind the school. The teacher's call pulled him out of his past nightmare. At this third meeting, the fates of the two people officially intertwined. Yoon-soo took the initiative to introduce herself and looked at Bak Sung-yu's name tag. He still remained silent and followed the teacher to the review room. At that time, Bak Sung-yu still did not admit that he was the one who solved the my problem. He made an excuse to refuse, but that was also why Bak Sung-yu was punished by Yoon-soo. She forced him to go to tutoring class every Monday morning. Bak Sung-yu reluctantly accepted. He could not deny his love for mathematics. When going out, for many people, the surrounding objects were just very normal shapes, but for Bak Sung-yu, it was a completely different view. When he looked at any object, it showed up with numbers and related expressions. In another scene, Jung-ah not only ran the prestigious Asum High School, but she also had to keep it at the top to compete with Yeon's international school. If Jung-ah could not prove her ability to her father, her position in the family would have been shaken. After dinner with her father and sister, Jung-ah immediately made a private appointment with the congressman, who was also Ye-rin's father. She came to discuss Jung-ah's plan to put her people on the Olympic judging panel. The purpose was to choose a winner that would benefit them. However, Asum High also had to find the best student to send to the competition. At that meeting, Yoon-soo's fiancé was also present, but he arrived after them. His name was Sung-jae, and from the information Sung-jae had, Yoon-soo also knew about this competition. She really wanted Bak Sung-yu to represent the school's math department in the competition. However, when she checked his academic results, she discovered that Bak Sung-yu always made mistakes so that he wouldn't get a perfect score. Therefore, Yoon-soo decided to make this student reveal his talent from now on. The next day, she called Bak Sung-yu to a tutoring class and asked him to attach pictures to Yoon-soo's study materials. Those pictures looked very normal at first glance, but in fact they were cycloids, fractals, and tessellations, which were all special geometries of advanced mathematics. Bak Sung-yu was extremely surprised because the teacher recognized the meaning behind his pictures. Yoon-soo wanted him to participate in the school's selection competition and then represent the school in the Olympic Games. However, when he heard the offer, Bak Sung-yu immediately refused. Bak Sung-yu thought that the teacher had some intention to treat him specially. Yoon-soo did not explain further. She didn't care about Bak Sung-yu's intelligence. What Yoon-soo cared about was his different perspective on mathematics. Then, she wrote a problem on the board. Yoon-soo said that when Bak Sung-yu solved the problem, he would understand what his heart wanted. At that time, whether Bak Sung-yu wanted to participate in the competition or not was up to him. Unexpectedly, Bak Sung-yu's father took the initiative to come find Yoon-soo. He wanted to show her that his son had been accepted directly into MIT since he was a child, and that Bak Sung-yu had been practicing math since he was 8 years old. The father wanted the teacher to continue training his son so that he could compete in the Olympics, but Bak Sung-yu's father wanted to keep it a secret. He didn't want to tell her why Bak Sung-yu hated math. Yoon-soo thought that he had been hurt in the past, which was why he was like this now. Therefore, she refused Bak Sung-yu's father's proposal. Meanwhile, Ye-rin secretly went to Jung-ah. She asked her grandmother to let her compete in the Olympics, but Ye-rin did not want to participate in the school-level competition. However, Jung-ah immediately refused. She also put pressure on Ye-rin, saying that if Ye-rin could not win the school-level competition, she would not be worthy of this prestigious school. Back to Bak Sung-yu. Although he did not want to, his mind kept thinking about the math problem that Yoon-soo gave him. Unconsciously, he solved it. At the same time, Yoon-soo also investigated Bak Sung-yu when he was 8 years old. Perhaps he had failed the math Olympic competition back then. That shock made Bak Sung-yu not dare to admit that he was a genius. That whole night, both Yoon-soo and Bak Sung-yu could not sleep. Afterwards, Yoon-soo had to cycle to school to clear her mind. She was surprised to find that Bak Sung-yu was also there. He was solving the problem that Yoon-soo gave him. She decided to help Bak Sung-yu. Immediately, a series of ideas popped into Bak Sung-yu's head. One's theory awakened the other's passion for mathematics. Both of them kept solving problems without noticing that it had already gotten light. When the whiteboard was covered with formulas, they still couldn't find a solution. Both of them paused. At this time, Bak Sung-yu realized that his passion for mathematics and interest in numbers had never died out. As for Yoon-soo, she wanted to let Bak Sung-yu freely choose what he wanted. However, the scene of the teacher and student solving problems together reached the ears of the school principal Jung-ah. She was hunting for excellent students. Therefore, Jung-ah sent someone someone to find out about Baek Sung-yu's profile. At the same time, Ye-rin and her father went to watch a horse race. The horse that Sung-min chose won. His daughter's horse only came in second. Sung-min thought that Ye-rin didn't know how to choose. That horse was far inferior to the horse he chose in terms of natural ability. Therefore, the horse that Ye-rin chose would never win against his horse. Hearing her father say that, Ye-rin felt inferior. She asked Sung-min if those who work hard can't win against those who are naturally talented. Sensing his daughter's insecurity, Congressman Sung-min secretly met with Jung-ah. When he mentioned the Olympics, Jung-ah immediately understood Sung-min's purpose. He wanted to nominate Ye-rin for the Olympics. Therefore, Jung-ah took the initiative to make a proposal. Sung-min had to use his status as a congressman to help her school pass the evaluation committee so that Jung-ah could convert Ah-sung School into a math-gifted school. If successful, she would support Ye-rin to compete in the Kbae Olympics. There was something unusual about this meeting. It seemed that Sung-min and the principal had feelings for each other. That was why he had to secretly avoid his wife, who was also nearby. As for Baek Sung-yu, after solving the problems with his teacher, he started to enthusiastically find the solution to the previous problem. Whether he was in the library or on the way home, Baek Sung-yu could not take his eyes off the math formulas. Meanwhile, teacher Yoon-soo was also enjoying cleaning up. In order to prevent Baek Sung-yu from competing with Ye-rin for a place in the exam, Principal Jung-ah invited Baek Sung-yu's father to meet her. He was shown the scene of his son enthusiastically solving math problems. The father was so moved that he burst into tears. He thought that his son had regained his old spirit. Jung-ah immediately seized the opportunity. She advised the father to transfer Baek Sung-yu to another school so that he could fully demonstrate his talent. Back home, the married couple sat down to watch a video of their son when he was young. At that time, Baek Sung-yu was still passionate about math. He had brought home countless awards that made his parents extremely proud. They hoped that their son would once again rekindle that passion and talent. When Baek Sung-yu came home, his mother immediately hugged him tightly. His father hoped that he would transfer to a science-gifted school to study. Baek Sung-yu would have to continue doing math, and he would create conditions for him to go to extra classes. Hearing that, Baek Sung-yu felt extremely suffocated. He did not want to participate but was forced by his father. He grabbed Baek Sung-yu by the neck and dragged him to the metal cabinet. He wanted his son to continue bringing glory to him because he believed that his son's talent could not be wasted, especially when his efforts in raising him had not been rewarded. At the same time, Baek Sung-yu suddenly saw a figure appear on the glass cabinet that made him break away and run away because of too much pressure. As soon as he ran out, he met Yoon-soo. Seeing his student lose his temper, Yoon-soo chased after him, but she was pushed away as he swatted her hand off. Baek Sung-yu misunderstood that Yoon-soo was the one who nominated him to the science school. Baek Sung-yu thought she was pretending to care, but actually didn't know anything about him. The next day, Yoon-soo asked the subject teacher and found out that Baek Sung-yu was about to transfer to the science school to prepare for the exam. When his father took him away, she risked her life to stop him. Even though he was Baek Sung-yu's father, she thought he had no right to force him. She wants him to assign Baek Sung-yu to her for training, because only when he was free to do math could Baek Sung-yu's talent be revealed. However, Baek Sung-yu's father didn't want to listen. He insisted that his son transfer schools. All of this was witnessed by Jung-ah from above. Everything was still within her arrangement. After that, the father took Baek Sung-yu to visit the new school. After that, the two of them talked. Thanks to that, Baek Sung-yu found out that the person who nominated him to the new school was Principal Jung-ah, not teacher Yoon-soo. Meanwhile, Yoon-soo and other teachers were preparing for the Olympic selection exam. On the day of the entrance exam at Ah-sung High School, Baek Sung-yu had to take an aptitude test to be admitted to the gifted school. He tried to solve the questions as quickly as possible. At the same time, Yoon-soo also tried to prolong the time. She hoped that Baek Sung-yu would return to Sung school in time to take the entrance exam. With one last minute, Yoon-soo had to go out and close the door herself. However, at that moment, a hand held the door. Baek Sung-yu did not disappoint her. He happily told the teacher that he had found the answer to the math problem from last night. Yoon-soo was happy. She immediately pulled her students into the room and asked Jung-ah to let Baek Sung-yu participate in the competition. Baek Sung-yu's appearance threatened all the excellent students present. Even though she didn't want to, Jung-ah still had to agree because Baek Sung-yu hadn't completed the transfer procedures. He still had the right to take the exam at Ah-sung High School. Because Ye-rin had been told the exam questions by the teacher beforehand, she now only needed to rewrite what she had memorized. Baek Sung-yu had to solve the questions himself, but his speed was not inferior to Ye-rin's. At the end of the exam, Ye-rin came to blame Baek Sung-yu for competing with her for the Olympic spot, but Baek Sung-yu was stronger now. He didn't want to hide anymore. Baek Sung-yu frankly admitted that he took the exam because he liked math. Meanwhile, Ye-rin took the exam to please her parents, and the results came out soon after. Both Ye-rin and Baek Sung-yu got perfect scores. Ye-rin was not satisfied with this result. She did not want to compete with Baek Sung-yu. Meanwhile, he did not care about the results. What Baek Sung-yu cared about was continuing to study math with teacher Yoon-soo. Teacher Yoon-soo was called to the principal's office to discuss the Olympic competition. Because Yoon-soo had trained many Olympic winners, she understood the grading rules. According to to the rules, if two students got the same score, they would have to retake the exam to be fair. Jung-ah knew that Ye-rin's ability would not be able to beat Bak Sung-yu. Therefore, she invited the parents of both students. After the discussion, Jung-ah decided to let both Ye-rin and Bak Sung-yu participate in the Olympics, so she kept the talented Bak Sung-yu for her school and also helped the congressman's daughter have a chance to compete in the Olympics. Although the congressman was not happy to let a strong opponent like Bak Sung-yu exist, Jung-ah still wanted to keep the genius for her school, because if she could train a genius like Bak Sung-yu, the reputation of the school would spread far and wide. She had a great ambition to improve Asung School into a top school in Korea, specializing in training talents for the country. Asung School would not be controlled by the Ministry of Education, and the children of high-ranking officials would also be sent to this school. Sung-min was stunned when he heard that. He couldn't believe Jung-ah had such great ambitions. The news that Bak Sung-yu and Ye-rin would be trained to compete in the Olympics made the whole school excited. It turned out that Bak Sung-yu was the math genius, Park Min-jae from the past. Yoon-so would be the tutor for both of them. The first assignment she gave them was to use mathematical language to sketch out a topic and present it within 3 minutes. Ye-rin didn't like Bak Sung-yu and teacher Yoon-soo, so she made an excuse to leave early. The next day, the list of students recruited into Yoon-soo's math club was out, and Bak Sung-yu's name appeared on it. All the boys in the dance club passed, except for the talented class president, who failed. It made him extremely dissatisfied, and he decided to go find Yoon-soo to ask. Bak Sung-yu was afraid that they would say hurtful things to her, so he pulled Yoon-soo into a corner. However, Yoon-soo didn't panic, but calmly went into the room and explained to the class president the rules for selecting students. She selected students based on their creative perspectives, not on memorized formulas, and if the class president had any questions, he could ask her at the math seminar tomorrow. The next day, Yoon-soo actually held a math seminar where all the students who had math-related questions would have her answer them. However, the class president was still angry and just stood in a corner watching without participating. In another scene, parents were complaining and wanted to change the math teacher because the class president's mother was not willing to accept that her son had failed the math club, so she went to see Jung-ah to complain. At the end of the meeting, Jung-ah received a call from Congressman Sung-min, and his wife accidentally saw the call and immediately went out to ask Principal Jung-ah. She also did not deny that the congressman had invited her to dinner, but it was to discuss Ye-rin's matter, causing Jung-min's wife to change her expression and smile before saying goodbye. Meanwhile, the class president went to find Ye-rin to provoke her, congratulating Ye-rin for participating in the Olympic competition, but she had to be in the same class as someone who was the lowest ranked in the school. However, Ye-rin was not to be outdone. She replied that even those who were good with their efforts would lose to so-called geniuses like Bak Sung-yu. Regarding the math club, Jung-ah had to call Yoon-soo to gently remind her not to be so stubborn. However, Yoon-soo was not afraid, and her math club would still operate normally. Jung-ah was helpless, so she could only give Yoon-soo a potted plant. Jung-ah wanted to see what kind of tall genius she would cultivate. After that, everything returned to normal. Yoon-soo returned to school to continue her Olympic preparation class. She also suggested to Bak Sung-yu a book by a British mathematician named Hardy. He was a mathematician who represented algebra theory. When class ended, Bak Sung-yu sat absent-mindedly outside the school grounds. Before his eyes was an image of a water jet moving in a repeating cycle. After that, he decided to go see Yoon-soo to ask about the note. It was the same paper that Bak Sung-yu had discovered earlier, but Yoon-soo insisted that it was not hers. It was a vector matrix. Bak Sung-yu was curious about who the owner of the paper was, and Yoon-soo decided to take her student to a nursing home. She went inside to look for the person, while Bak Sung-yu played chess with a master outside. This master was Yoon-soo's father, who was also the owner of the research project on vectors following the movement of knights in chess, based on the Mbn matrix. When he had the chance to meet him, Bak Sung-yu immediately asked about the repetition of the numbers on the paper. He directed his perspective to a larger space. He explained that it was an infinite number in a finite number. Hundreds of mathematical formulas developed based on a few numbers. Yoon-soo's father was a professor of mathematics. You have to understand that a professor is the highest level in the teaching and research system. That was enough to know how good Yoon-soo's father was, but that was 10 years ago. Now his mind was not very stable. This was also Jung-ah's worry. Thanks to the meeting with the professor the day before, Bak Sung-yu had an idea for his presentation. The topic he chose was very difficult, but the teacher still supported it. At this time, outside, the class president witnessed the scene where the teacher was training Bak Sung-yu. He must be very jealous in his heart to get more material for the topic. Yoon-soo wanted to invite Ye-rin and Bak Sung-yu to the exhibition on Jeju Island, but through their attitude, it was also clear that Ye-rin did not want to go with them. In the end, only Bak Sung-yu and Yoon-soo went to the exhibition. The paintings there were all drawn very abstractly. Not everyone could see the interesting things in them. Meanwhile, in the library, Ye-rin and the class president were talking to each other. The class president told Ye-rin to help him defeat Bak Sung-yu, because if he lost to him, the class president would feel more humiliated than letting Ye-rin get first place. As for Bak Sung-yu, after looking at paintings paintings, the two went to the library to read more materials. It was not until it was dark that they went home. After they finished eating, the class president saw them. Then he came up with a dirty idea. The next day, the whole school was abuzz about the hot pictures of Yoon-soo and Bak Sung-yu. Ye-rin knew that the class president was the one who did this, and she did not agree with such dirty tricks. However, when she heard that the class president would help her stop Bak Sung-yu, Ye-rin stopped arguing. After hearing the news, Bak Sung-yu immediately found the class president and punched him twice in a row. Although his friends tried to stop him, they were unsuccessful, and in the end, the class president and Bak Sung-yu got into a fight. The commotion quickly reached principal's ears and made her very excited. Juma wanted to see how Yoon-soo would handle the situation. In the office, neither the class president nor Bak Sung-yu admitted their guilt. Worse still, the case was handed over to the school violence prevention committee. If they made a fuss, Bak Sung-yu might lose his qualification to compete in the Olympics. Yoon-soo, who was busy looking at wedding dresses with her fiancé at the time, couldn't go along to protect Bak Sung-yu. Although she looked extremely beautiful in her pure white dress, she was worried about her student. Having just received the news from the homeroom teacher, Yoon-soo had to quickly take off her dress. She also didn't forget to apologize to her husband and mother-in-law before leaving. In the office, the class president's mother was making a fuss because her son was beaten. Her husband was the director of the communications department, and the class president's mother insisted that the school punish Bak Sung-yu. Otherwise, she wouldn't let this matter rest. Hearing that, Yoon-soo immediately took out the photo collage to show the class monitor's mother about her son daring to defame the teacher. Yoon-soo emphasized that if this incident spread online, her son would be the one who would be criticized the most. Even if it was brought to legal action, the student might be expelled. The class monitor's mother was so scared that she couldn't speak. She immediately changed her attitude and apologized to the teacher on behalf of her son. After resolving the matter, Yoon-soo went to find Bak Sung-yu. She blamed him for using violence, but Yoon-soo was also happy that he dared to stand up and fight. Bak Sung-yu no longer lived like a stone. As for Yoon-soo's fiancé, when he saw the defamed photo of his wife, he was extremely angry. Seeing that, Yoon-soo could only comfort her husband. The next day, the situation was less tense. The class president and Bak Sung-yu also gave in and apologized to each other and the teacher, although they didn't want to do it in their hearts. Yoon-soo didn't think much about it and forgave her student. After finishing everything at school, Yoon-soo had time to spend with her fiancé Sung-jae. The two were invited to have dinner with Sung-min. The congressman asked Yoon-soo to help his daughter with her Olympic research paper, but Sung-min didn't expect the teacher to hint at it. Because Yoon-soo had read Ye-rin's research ideas, she found the essay too perfect. It looked more like the research of an expert than a high school student like Ye-rin. Sung-min was extremely embarrassed when she heard that. It was the first time someone dared to expose him like that. Sure enough, it was true, because at that time, Ye-rin's mother was sitting and talking to Jong-ah and found out that her daughter would receive help from an expert from the Institute of Science Research. However, outsiders still thought that she was studying with Yoon-soo and Bak Sung-yu. Although Yoon-soo knew that the competition was unfair, she could not expose the congressman immediately. After the meal, she and her husband were forced to accept bribes from Congressman Sung-min. On the way back, Sung-jae told Yoon-soo the truth about the upcoming Olympic competition. It was conducted by the congressman, and the committee had already decided the winner. The purpose of the competition was only to connect the Mathematical Association and the Ministry of Education. Yoon-soo was extremely upset when she learned the truth. She asked her husband to return the gift to the congressman immediately. Then Yoon-soo got out of the car in anger and walked home by herself. Coincidentally, this scene happened right in front of Bak Sung-yu. Seeing her upset, he gave her the ice cream he had just bought. After that, the two of them chatted happily. To help Bak Sung-yu prepare best for the exam, Yoon-soo personally took her students to Jeju Island to get ideas. Coincidentally, Ye-rin and her mother also went to Jeju Island to do research for Ye-rin's paper. It was an AI facial recognition research project. Meanwhile, Bak Sung-yu and his teacher went everywhere to take photos. They entered a diamond-shaped room together. The reflection of light created a blurry space. That scene made Bak Sung-yu moved by Yoon-soo's beauty. Every time he raised his camera to take photos, Bak Sung-yu unconsciously took a few photos of his teacher. While looking at Van Gogh's paintings, Bak Sung-yu admitted to her that he couldn't solve the problem she gave him because there were always loopholes in the solution. Yoon-soo revealed that it was a problem that even her father couldn't prove. Therefore, Bak Sung-yu didn't need to be too absorbed in it. In the evening, the two of them sat together, watching the stars and listening to the same music. Bak Sung-yu's feelings of excitement grew stronger. When he returned to the airport, he saw his teacher dozing off. Bak Sung-yu took the initiative to sit next to her and gently pushed her head to lean on his shoulder to make her feel more comfortable. At the same time, Ye-rin and her mother also returned to the airport, so she accidentally witnessed this scene. Ye-rin could have taken this opportunity to harm Bak Sung-yu, but she didn't do so. As soon as her mother arrived, Ye-rin immediately made an excuse to go get coffee to avoid her seeing this scene. After returning, Bak Sung-yu waited for his teacher to go home safely before he could return with peace of mind. The materials Bak Sung-yu collected today were not in vain. They had aroused Baek Sung-yu's interest in mathematics. While looking through the photos, he accidentally came across pictures of Yoon-soo that he had taken earlier. Perhaps Baek Sung-yu had been staring at that photo for a long time. The next day at school, Yoon-soo was called by Jong-ah to remind her. She told Jong-ah not to be too biased towards any student, otherwise the other students would feel dissatisfied and jealous. It seemed that this woman knew everything that happened yesterday. Afterwards, Yoon-soo called Ye-rin to talk about the research paper. Ye-rin immediately thought that the teacher loved the genius Baek Sung-yu more than her. Having to compete with such a naturally talented person was very difficult for Ye-rin. Yoon-soo comforted her student not to be too sensitive. She was not biased towards anyone. Yoon-soo also advised Ye-rin to see the Olympic competition as a festival and live it to the fullest. Ye-rin stood outside the classroom door. Her jealousy towards Baek Sung-yu was clearly visible on her face. The topic that Baek Sung-yu chose for his presentation surprised Yoon-soo greatly. This student was indeed talented, and she even gave him a stone in return. Since its shape was quite similar to a calculus graph, Yoon-soo wanted to give it to Baek Sung-yu as a lucky charm. Very quickly, the much-awaited Olympic competition arrived. Ye-rin still took the initiative to separate from Yoon-soo and her student, saying that she would go to the waiting room. But in fact, Ye-rin went to get the prepared presentation manuscript. Meanwhile, Yoon-soo and Baek Sung-yu went to watch the math professor's speech. There were only 20 minutes left until the exam, so Yoon-soo had to go to the exam room to prepare in advance. Baek Sung-yu stayed in the yard. He accidentally met the teacher who taught him when he was young. Baek Sung-yu wanted to escape but was held back by the teacher. The teacher's praise of Baek Sung-yu's talent reminded him of the pain of past. When he couldn't stand it anymore, Baek Sung-yu struggled and ran away from everyone's puzzled gazes. The haunting memories of his childhood began to reappear. It turned out that the guy Baek Sung-yu remembered was a student at MIT. He was also the only friend Baek Sung-yu knew. Both of them were very good at math, but Baek Sung-yu's talent was far superior to this brother. Because of the young genius's superiority, the student was self-conscious. In the end, the guy made the most foolish decision. This was also the reason why Baek Sung-yu wanted to give up the title of genius. While Baek Sung-yu was in a panic, Ye-rin was invited straight to the office to meet the examination board. Yoon-soo was also there, and she clearly felt that everyone there was biased towards Ye-rin. After leaving, Yoon-soo called Baek Sung-yu, but he was in a panic at the moment. Baek Sung-yu could only helplessly reply that he didn't have the confidence to compete in the Olympics. Hearing that, the teacher was extremely worried about her student. While on the rooftop, the bright rays of light awakened Baek Sung-yu's subconscious. He suddenly remembered the melancholia that Yoon-soo had mentioned. It was a term in psychology, referring to a state of sadness or despair. That was also the word that could accurately describe Baek Sung-yu's feelings at the moment. But when he thought of Yoon-soo's words of encouragement, he suddenly regained his spirit. Numbers and mathematical expressions gradually appeared. Finally, he was able to calmly do the test. Not long after, the teacher also ran over. Seeing Baek Sung-yu crying with the problem he had just solved, she couldn't help but feel flustered. But he calmly said that they needed to go to the exam room immediately because it was almost time for roll call. Luckily, both of them arrived just in time. Baek Sung-yu's appearance made Ye-rin feel worried. At this time, Ye-rin's parents, Baek Sung-yu's parents, and Jung-ah's younger sister all came to watch the competition. All the students participating in this competition chose the topic of 4.0 technology as their presentation topic. When it was Ye-rin's turn, she chose to present in English to be different from the previous contestants. Ye-rin also used her mother as an example of her facial recognition technology. After finishing the test, although her test was quite good, Ye-rin still felt pressured to the point that she had to run to the bathroom to vomit. When it was Baek Sung-yu's turn, he held the lucky stone tightly in his hand. Baek Sung-yu stepped onto the stage and calmly presented his idea. Baek Sung-yu's topic was completely opposite to Ye-rin's. It was a debate on whether AI could really replace humans. During his presentation, Baek Sung-yu's interpretation made many people feel interested. Typically, when he asked what infinity and finite were, for example, Van Gogh, although his life was limited, the artistic value he brought was infinite. That was also the answer to his topic. According to Baek Sung-yu, AI intelligence cannot replace humans because it can only develop in the data warehouse that humans enter. This was too abstract, making everyone laugh, but it was undeniable that Baek Sung-yu was completely different from the previous contestants. Other contestants created technological products, but he created a premise for mathematical research. Yoon-soo was very proud to see her student compete so well. Ye-rin was now very worried about the prize this time. Those who had laughed at Baek Sung-yu before now had to acknowledge his talent. The moment to announce the results had come. There were 3 prizes awarded this time, of which the first prize went to Ye-rin. But no one expected that there was a special prize, because the foreign judges were very impressed with Baek Sung-yu's abstract and humane speech. Therefore, he won the same prize as Ye-rin. As soon as they heard their son's name, Baek Sung-yu's parents were overjoyed. Teacher Yoon-soo was also very happy with his achievement. Only Jung-ah showed no expression at the result. At the end of the session, Baek Sung-yu really wanted to thank teacher Yoon-soo, but Sung-jae took her away. Unexpectedly, Baek Sung-yu chased after him. After chatting, Sung-jae had something to do, so he made an appointment to meet meet again later. Bak Sung-yu took the opportunity to pull the teacher up to the rooftop. Before their eyes was the number 614416. The interesting thing about this number is that when read backwards, it is still the original number. Now that he had achieved his achievement, Bak Sung-yu opened up more. He told Yoon-soo about his brother who studied with him at MIT. He was also his first friend, so Bak Sung-yu treasured him very much. He once told Bak Sung-yu to help him when he couldn't solve a math problem. Being a naive child, he actually did it. Bak Sung-yu solved the problem that his brother had spent years researching. All of his self-esteem was trampled by Bak Sung-yu, so he chose to do something foolish. When he heard the story, Yoon-soo sympathized with his student because her father also went crazy because of his failed research project. The scene of Yoon-soo comforting her student accidentally caught the eye of her fiancé. During dinner, Sung-jae thought that Bak Sung-yu had feelings for his wife. He advised his wife to keep her distance from Bak Sung-yu, otherwise things could go too far. Not only Sung-jae thought so, Ye-rin also thought that Bak Sung-yu had feelings for Yoon-soo. When they were young, they both got into MIT, but Ye-rin was not a genius like Bak Sung-yu. Therefore, she often had to stay late to correct her mistakes. At that time, Bak Sung-yu stayed to help her. Ye-rin really liked him, but she was also jealous of Bak Sung-yu's talent. Back in the present, unexpectedly, disaster quickly befell Ye-rin. A reporter exposed her cheating. The reporter noticed that Ye-rin's presentation was similar to the facial recognition program that Professor Chai was researching. Not only that, Professor Chai was also a judge for the Olympic competition. During the investigation, teacher Yoon-soo refused to answer the reporter's questions. Yoon-soo refused to reveal the process of tutoring the two students. Immediately after, Ye-rin's taking other people's presentation ideas was criticized by everyone. The girl thought that the teacher was intentionally trying to harm her, but in fact, Yoon-soo's interview was secretly filmed. The next day at school, Ye-rin got off the bus and was surrounded and attacked by reporters. Suddenly, Bak Sung-yu came from somewhere and grabbed Ye-rin's hand and ran away. It turned out that the teacher wanted to see Ye-rin, so she asked Bak Sung-yu to take her there. After Ye-rin arrived at the meeting place, Yoon-soo frankly talked to her about cheating to win the prize. To Yoon-soo, Ye-rin was already a smart student, therefore, she should not use any means for her achievements. If Ye-rin felt confused, Yoon-soo could help her untangle the things in her heart. However, Ye-rin did not want to listen. She thought she deserved prize. To Ye-rin, it was a fair game. Bak Sung-yu had innate talent and Ye-rin had family conditions. She didn't care about the gossip outside. The situation was so tense that even Jung-ah called Yoon-soo in for a private talk. She advised Yoon-soo not to interfere with the parents' way of educating their children. Since this school was built to train future leaders and high-ranking officials, Yoon-soo shouldn't try to change anything, otherwise she would have to leave. After the conversation ended, Congressman Sung-min called Jung-ah. He offered to ask for the math answers for his daughter, but Jung-ah was very adamant she couldn't do that because Ye-rin was currently under investigation. She couldn't take any chances. After knowing that her father couldn't ask for the exam questions, Ye-rin lost her temper. She went crazy and wanted her parents to help her get first place. After that, Ye-rin went to see Principal Jung-ah. Ye-rin's discomfort toward teacher Yoon-soo delighted Jung-ah, and she hoped the girl would continue to maintain this attitude. Back at school, Ye-rin was extremely jealous when she saw Yoon-soo and her student being so close. After school, Yoon-soo took her bike to ride home, but she didn't understand why she couldn't stop. It turned out that someone had cut the brakes. As a result, Yoon-soo lost control of the bike and fell into the grass. Coincidentally, Bak Sung-yu was also nearby. He quickly ran over and carried his teacher to the hospital. Later, when the medical staff asked who Yoon-soo's relatives were, Bak Sung-yu was about to speak, but Sung-jae spoke first. The student could only shyly turn away. Meanwhile, Ye-rin was going crazy because of intense studying. She couldn't concentrate on her exam. Ye-rin even took ADHD medication, but it still didn't work. ADHD was a disease of attention deficit disorder. Seeing her daughter in such a crisis, Ye-rin's mother no longer needed any achievements. She just needed Ye-rin to calm down, but Ye-rin was not willing to lose the position she had maintained for so long. On the other hand, after sending someone to investigate the reporter before, Jung-ah finally knew who was behind it. It was none other than her younger sister, Yeon. So, to warn her, Jung-ah took a bottle of wine and poured it directly on Yeon. But this younger sister was no pushover either. Yeon even threatened her older sister in return. Back to Bak Sung-yu. In order to protect Yoon-soo's safety, he brought his bike to pick her up at school. But Bak Sung-yu suddenly realized that his teacher already had a backer, her fiancé, Sung-jae. He drove her away. Therefore, Bak Sung-yu could only follow Yoon-soo's car for a long time. In another scene, after being shown the video by a colleague, Yoon-soo discovered that the culprit had cut the brakes of her car. Surprisingly, culprit was Ye-rin. Yoon-soo didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so she called Ye-rin over to talk privately. She didn't blame her student, but gave her a study anxiety analysis sheet. Yoon-soo wanted to check if Ye-rin was having problems with achievement pressure. This is a painful problem not only for Ye-rin, but also a typical situation for many East Asian students today. All the cases that Yoon-soo brought up were problems that Ye-rin had. That made her cry and tear the paper to pieces. Ye-rin then met with Bak Sung-yu privately. She admitted that she was the culprit who caused the accident to teacher Yoon-soo. Ye-rin used Yoon-soo's safety to threaten Bak Sung-yu. She asked him not to do better on the test than her. However, Bak Sung-yu refused. He didn't want to fight with Ye-rin, but Bak Sung-yu wanted to be himself. Seeing that this method was not effective, Ye-rin sent Bak Sung-yu the wedding invitation of teacher and her fiancé. That moment made him disillusioned. This harsh truth made Bak Sung-yu suffer. Staring at the invitation, Bak Sung-yu returned to school to find his teacher. At this time, he was drenched from the rain. Bak Sung-yu remembered what she had said, that he should not be too absorbed in a problem that he could not solve. But now Bak Sung-yu was already immersed in it. Now, he could not control his emotions. He still tried to be absorbed in the problem that he could not solve. Yoon-soo did not know that the problem that Bak Sung-yu was talking about was himself. Bak Sung-yu heartbrokenly gave the teacher the gift and left. As for Ye-rin, because she did not want to lose her rank, she went directly to Jung-ah. Ye-rin was no longer the same as usual. She came not to beg Jung-ah, but to exchange. Ye-rin will give her a photo of Bak Sung-yu and Yoon-soo being intimate. In return, Jung-ah must give Ye-rin the answer to the exam. Jung-ah burst out laughing when she heard that. She didn't expect that the shy girl from that day would dare to make conditions with her. At the same time, Yoon-soo had a meal with her future father-in-law. He reminded her to prioritize the children of congressmen in school, but Yoon-soo did not agree with that injustice. On the way back, no matter how much her husband advised her, she would not change her mind. Because of the conflict with Sung-jae, Yoon-soo decided to go find her father, and when she arrived, it was also the time when Bak Sung-yu got in the car to go home. It turned out that Bak Sung-yu had visited Yoon-soo's father before. He also showed him the math problem he had solved. The next day at school, Bak Sung-yu was called to the classroom by Yoon-soo to return the gift. She understood his intentions, but Yoon-soo could not accept it. She hoped he would soon find another math problem that suited him. Bak Sung-yu tried to suppress his emotions and left. Class president accidentally discovered the gift. He immediately had a bad idea. Soon after, the class president made an appointment with Bak Sung-yu at the soccer field. He used the photo to threaten Bak Sung-yu. The class president would return the photo to him, but on the condition that Bak Sung-yu would not take the midterm exam. His anger almost made him punch the class president, but he didn't expect this guy to dare to threaten and tell the whole school about his feelings. It would affect Yoon-soo's career. Bak Sung-yu wasn't easily intimidated. He would use his achievements to protect his teacher. The midterm exam was coming. Both teachers and students were busy preparing for the review and assignment. Taking advantage of this busyness, the math teacher secretly took a photo of the solution and sent it to Ye-rin's mother. The mother was very excited and gave the assignment to her beloved daughter. On the day of the exam, Bak Sung-yu maintained his form. He finished the test very quickly without worrying about anything. Meanwhile, Ye-rin was quite stressed as she tried to remember the answers she had memorized. The exam results were out. Bak Sung-yu was the only one to get a full score in math. This made the class monitor next to him jealous. Ye-rin was shocked when she discovered that one question had been corrected. At the same time, the math teacher just found out that Yoon-soo had corrected the test yesterday. Because Ye-rin's answer to the last question matched the uncorrected test, she was called to Yoon-soo's office. Faced with the teacher's questions, Ye-rin didn't know how to defend herself. The math teacher walked in at that moment and called Yoon-soo outside to help Ye-rin out. After that, he quickly reported the situation to Ye-rin's mother. This was accidentally discovered by the congressman. To save his daughter, he had no choice but to go see Jung-ah to apologize. Unexpectedly, she was the one who allowed the math teacher to send the exam to Ye-rin's mother. This would have been fine if Ye-rin had the ability to recognize the mistake, but her ability was too poor. Hearing that, Sung-min quickly knelt down and begged Jung-ah to save his daughter. In return, he would use his relationship with the Ministry of Education to support Asong High School. Meanwhile, Yoon-soo and the homeroom teacher had already thought of the possibility that the exam had been leaked. They planned to wait until the exam was over before starting the investigation to avoid causing confusion among the students. At the end of the exam, Ye-rin was only ranked 13th in the school. Meanwhile, Bak Sung-yu got perfect scores in all subjects. To everyone's surprise, the class president was angry, so he showed the whole class a photo of Yoon-soo. To prevent this from happening again, Bak Sung-yu decided to burn the photo. From a student who was always at the bottom of the class, he was now at top of the school. This caused Bak Sung-yu to be the subject of rumors. They thought that he had an affair with the math teacher. Since the exam was over, Yoon-soo wanted to clarify Ye-rin's answer, but the homeroom teacher said that the vice principal did not want the two to continue delving into this matter. This was Jung-ah's idea. She pushed all the responsibility onto the math teacher for making mistakes and asked him to admit his mistake in front of the school board. As a result, the math subject would have to be retaken. All the students' exams would be cancelled. This meant that no one would know Ye-rin's answer. The congressman was overjoyed to hear this news. Sung-min thought that everything had been resolved, but things were not that easy when the teacher explained that the reason for the retake was because there was a question that was not in the curriculum. Explaining time. Hearing this, Bak Sung-yu disagreed with this, so he was taken to the teacher's office and scolded in front of Yoon-soo. Bak Sung-yu directly wrote down his solution. That knowledge was still in the curriculum, making the math teacher speechless. The other teachers were so happy when they saw the correct answer that they were moved because they wouldn't have to give the test again. The math teacher regretted bringing Baek Sung-yu up. He had to run to ask for help from Jung-ah. At the same time, Ye-rin also had to text her mother for help because Yoon-soo questioned her about the wrong answer again. Because she was too nervous, Ye-rin had difficulty breathing and fainted. This was also witnessed by other students, making them think that Yoon-soo was forcing Ye-rin. Ye-rin's mother was also angry. She slapped Yoon-soo because she thought the teacher dared to bully her daughter. She intended to continue, but was stopped by Baek Sung-yu. The tension rose immediately. Luckily, Jung-ah appeared in time. Jung-ah went to the office with Yoon-soo and Ye-rin's mother. She made Ye-rin's mother apologize to Yoon-soo. After that, Jung-ah promised Yoon-soo that she would personally check the math results and report to her. Hearing that, Yoon-soo agreed and left. This news quickly reached Jung-ah's younger sister. Yeon personally invited Yoon-soo to meet her. Yeon warned Yoon-soo that Jung-ah did not hesitate to eliminate anyone who got in her way. Therefore, Yeon did not want Yoon-soo to stumble into that. If anything went wrong, Yoon-soo could come find her. However, this whole thing was under Jung-ah's surveillance. She had someone follow them. On the way back, Yoon-soo accidentally met Baek Sung-yu. He had a hard time congratulating her on her wedding. Yoon-soo also encouraged him to have faith in his mathematical path. Baek Sung-yu turned away. He tried to suppress his emotions. A series of memories from the first time he met Yoon-soo came back to his mind. The next day was Yoon-soo's wedding day. The students in the math club all came to congratulate their teacher. Baek Sung-yu chose to attend a math conference to escape reality. Meanwhile, Yoon-soo and her husband walked into the wedding hall with everyone's blessings. Suddenly, the main screen showed an image of her and Baek Sung-yu being intimate. The whole wedding hall was filled with chatter. This was Jung-ah's mastermind. She had to get rid of Yoon-soo, even though she didn't want to waste a talent. The scene of Baek Sung-yu and Yoon-soo yesterday was also captured, leaving Yoon-soo bewildered. Sung-jae looked at her with suspicion and disappointment. His mother-in-law left the wedding right away. That event caused a stir in the education world. Information about the two was spread all over the bulletin boards. 4 years passed, and now Baek Sung-yu had grown up a lot. That day, he had a TV broadcast about his achievements. As a genius famous throughout country, Baek Sung-yu had won countless awards, big and small. Among them was the prestigious Lucifer Award, which was known as the Nobel Prize of Mathematics. During the interview, Baek Sung-yu revealed that he had dropped out of high school to take the aptitude test. Since then, he had immersed himself in mathematics. Baek Sung-yu tried so hard because he wanted to grow up quickly. During that time, Ye-rin graduated and became the school's representative. Jung-ah also successfully turned education into a business tool. High-ranking officials had to bow to her to get their children into the school. Jung-ah did not hesitate to use any means to achieve her goals, including taking advantage of her daughter, using tears to force her to improve her academic performance. Back to Baek Sung-yu, he was invited to give speeches everywhere. One time, while Baek Sung-yu was presenting, he accidentally saw a girl wearing a hat with the number 1729. He thought it was Yoon-soo, so Baek Sung-yu quickly ran up to the female audience. His heart was beating faster than ever, but when he took off her hat, Baek Sung-yu realized he had mistaken her. At the end of the speech, the girl did not forget to ask for his autograph and take a photo with him. That evening, his friend sent Baek Sung-yu her social media. He accidentally came across a post from her about a book, and it was the same as the one Yoon-soo had lent him. Baek Sung-yu's memory returned to 4 years ago, when Yoon-soo was arrested on suspicion of sexually assaulting a minor. Although Baek Sung-yu admitted that his feelings were one-sided and that Yoon-soo was just a victim, at this moment, all those words became meaningless. Baek Sung-yu rushed forward and promised to clear her name, but in return, he only received a cold gaze from Yoon-soo. When he ran to her house to find her, Yoon-soo had already moved away. Since then, Baek Sung-yu lost contact with his teacher. Back in the present, Baek Sung-yu followed the book and went to the library. He found out that the book with the seal was given by an anonymous person. Not finding anything, Baek Sung-yu went to the nursing home to visit Yoon-soo's father. He showed him the thesis that he had proven, which he had now completed. Not only that, Baek Sung-yu also won a Medal of Merit. Yoon-soo's father was very pleased. He even asked the boy for the thesis to read the book that Baek Sung-yu had brought to give to him. When he pushed Yoon-soo's father back to the room, Baek Sung-yu accidentally heard the nurse say that his daughter had also come to visit. He rushed into the room to look for her, but she had already left. Baek Sung-yu ran out to look for Yoon-soo, but still couldn't find her. The nurse said she would come here a few times a month. After waiting, Baek Sung-yu decided to leave. At that moment, he unexpectedly met Yoon-soo. Baek Sung-yu only wanted to hear the teacher praise him, but she wanted to cut off the relationship with him. Despite showing such a hesitant attitude, Yoon-soo later secretly looked at the thesis that Baek Sung-yu had given to her father. Not long after, Jung-ah wanted to invite Baek Sung-yu to her school to be a math teacher. Unexpectedly, he agreed. Her school had now been upgraded to a math-gifted school. The best former students were invited to the opening ceremony. However, when Baek Sung-yu appeared, all the admiration was directed towards him. Baek Sung-yu's aura was really great, to the point of making others jealous. Teaching at this school, Baek Sung-yu accidentally met the girl from last time. When class ended, he called Shia over, intending to ask her if she was taking extra classes. However, Shia was from a poor family, so she didn't have money to take extra classes and was also looked down upon by other students, including including Jung-ah's daughter, named Ji-na. However, when Xia was bullied by other students, Ji-na stood up and scolded them for her because she didn't like them either. In fact, Xia's tutor was Yoon-soo. However, Yoon-soo didn't let her reveal who she was, so Xia didn't share it with anyone. Yoon-soo watched the news at home and knew that Baek Sung-yu was working as a teacher at Asung School. In fact, she was now a math tutor at Sanmu Tutoring Center. This center was very difficult to get into for studying, even for rich kids. Ye-rin's mother had to call and beg for her youngest son, Yu-chan, to be approved. On the other hand, Sung-jae had divorced Yoon-soo, but he was still actually helping her clear her name. In the past, Yoon-soo had said that she had been framed. That was why Sung-jae had teamed up with Yeon to investigate the incident from years ago. Meanwhile, Xia told her teacher about the new math teacher in the class. The teacher had asked the whole class to write a research paper on a book he recommended, but now that book was out of print and hard to find. Because Yoon-soo wanted to help her students find that material, she decided to go to the library where she had given the book. Unexpectedly, this was all planned by Baek Sung-yu. He had been waiting for Yoon-soo there. When it was time to close the library, the manager accidentally turned off all the lights. He quickly ran out to find a way out, but the door was already closed. Baek Sung-yu could only call the library's hotline for help. Thanks to that, he had some time alone with Yoon-soo, and memories of the two of them from the past came flooding back. Baek Sung-yu also guessed that Xia was Yoon-soo's student. While she was confused, the manager arrived and the two of them escaped. On the other side, the class president had now become a tutor for Ye-rin's younger brother. He was also interested in her, so after tutoring, the class president took the initiative to offer to take her home. Ye-rin was very excited about class president's new car, and she wanted to drive it, but the excitement caused Ye-rin to speed too much, almost causing a collision. Just as Ye-rin was angry and wanted to cause trouble with the car, she had to stop because the person inside looked very much like Yoon-soo from the past. At this moment, Baek Sung-yu also arrived. Taking advantage of that opportunity, Yoon-soo left. After she returned to the center, she kept recalling the moment she met Baek Sung-yu again. Even though she ignored him, Baek Sung-yu was still very happy to see her again. The next day, Baek Sung-yu took the initiative to text Yoon-soo, "Good morning." It turned out that he had gotten her phone number thanks to the contact information left in the car. Afterwards, Baek Sung-yu asked Yoon-soo out for lunch. He was very happy that she showed up, but Yoon-soo was not so happy. She did not come here to have lunch with him, but to tell him to delete his phone number and stop contacting her. Meanwhile, Sung-jae read Baek Sung-yu's news and suddenly remembered the past event. At that time, he wanted Yoon-soo to clarify and blame Baek Sung-yu, but she did not do so because Yoon-soo did not want her student to be attacked because he still had a future ahead of him. It was also for that reason that Sung-jae and Yoon-soo's marriage also fell apart. Remembering those memories, he could not help but feel heartbroken and collapse. So, Baek Sung-yu turned to his student, Xia. This girl had extraordinary talent and had done very well on her essay. Baek Sung-yu decided to invite her to join his upcoming team, but in return, he wanted to know how Xia met Yoon-soo. Knowing that she couldn't hide it, Xia revealed that she had met Yoon-soo through chess. Although she was still young, Xia had been able to defeat the experienced players in the village. After winning all the betting money, Xia had been unfortunately arrested by the police. As an orphan, she had no one to bail her out. At that time, Yoon-soo had become Xia's guardian. From then on, Xia also became her student. Elsewhere, Jung-ah also knew about Baek Sung-yu's upcoming plans. She promised parents that she would help their children get on the list. When the meeting ended, Jung-ah suddenly received a call from the police. Through the surveillance camera, people suspected that her daughter was culprit of stealing the watch. Jung-ah calmly gave her business card to the police and reminded him not to make a big deal out of it. Then, she immediately ran back to school and went to her daughter's locker. When she searched inside, Jung-ah really found the watch. She was so angry that she screamed like she was going crazy. On the other hand, Xia still hadn't returned. Yoon-soo worriedly called her, but she didn't pick up. Turned out that Baek Sung-yu had taken her to the nursing home to play chess with Yoon-soo's father. He also took the opportunity to answer the phone for Xia. Knowing that the two were at the nursing home, Yoon-soo immediately drove there to take Xia home. As soon as Xia complained of hunger, Baek Sung-yu took the opportunity to invite her out to eat. Yoon-soo had no choice but to do so. In the end, they went out to eat together. Seeing the two of them, both of her students, happily eating, Yoon-soo couldn't help but feel happy too. On the way back, Xia told Yoon-soo that she would be participating in Baek Sung-yu's project to establish the National Museum of Mathematics. At the same time, Baek Sung-yu attended the class reunion party with his friends. Ye-rin seemed to no longer have much grudge against Baek Sung-yu, so Ye-rin advised him not to continue staying in Assam. But he didn't care about that and just asked for Ye-rin's number and said goodbye. In another scene, Ji-na was shocked when she found out that the watch was missing from her bag. Meanwhile, Jung-ah was trying to hire a lawyer to save this lawsuit for her daughter. Anyway, the police didn't have enough evidence to charge Ji-na yet. She still didn't know who took the watch, so Ji-na brought her anxiety to Baek Sung-yu's class. Baek Sung-yu was also present at the meeting, and the rich students looked down on the girl. Baek Sung-yu gave the students a topic to come up with exhibition ideas for the Museum of Mathematics. During self-study, Ji-na took the initiative to approach Xia and lent Xia her laptop to do a presentation. Xia thought that Jina just wanted to help her, so she accepted the laptop without any suspicion. The next day, Zheng took the initiative to invite reporters to broadcast live about Baek Sung-yu's National Museum project. Yoon-soo in the center was also watching the live launch. Each student took turns presenting their ideas. When it was Jina's turn, when the presentation slides were just turned on, Xia below was extremely surprised. The idea that Jina was presenting was the presentation she had done. Yoon-soo at home also realized this. When it was Xia's turn to present, her content was exactly the same as Jina's before, causing the whole hall to buzz. Zheng below knew for sure that her daughter had done something shameful, but she did not expose it right away. Afterwards, the two female students were invited to the council room for interrogation. Jina shamelessly blamed Xia for stealing her idea. Zheng was afraid that truth would be revealed, so she suggested to Baek Sung-yu that the two students must bring evidence next week to prove it. The person who stole the idea would have to withdraw from the project. Immediately after that, Zheng met Jina privately. Without hesitation, she slapped her daughter hard, but Jina tried to deny that she did it, even though Jung-ah had discovered the theft of the watch. While the mother tried her best to build up the school's reputation, Jina wanted to ruin it even more. Yoon-soo could not let her students suffer. She went up to the director's office and requested that he arrange a meeting with Jina's mother, but he would meet her on behalf of Yoon-soo. On the way back, Yoon-soo was accidentally caught by Sung-jae. He immediately drove after her. After meeting each other, the unexpected reunion left Yoon-soo unprepared. Sung-jae wanted to talk to his ex-wife, but she refused. He held Yoon-soo's hand, but Baek Sung-yu, who was nearby, separated the two. When he saw the person who ruined their marriage, Sung-jae couldn't keep calm and blamed Yoon-soo. He thought that she didn't keep her distance from Baek Sung-yu, which is why things turned out like this. Even though things had gone too far, Yoon-soo still didn't want to explain much to Sung-jae. After that, she left. Yoon-soo went to Baek Sung-yu just to get more information for Xia. After hearing that, Yoon-soo decided to do things her own way. At the same time, she also told Baek Sung-yu not to touch this matter. At this time, at school, Jina blocked Xia's way to go home. She threatened to stab Xia with a pen, but Xia shook her hand away. She was not someone to be bullied. Jina didn't give up and warned Xia not to try to fight against her. At the same time, Sung-jae blocked Baek Sung-yu's way and warned him not to appear in Yoon-soo's life again. 4 years ago, Baek Sung-yu was still a teenager, so he had no right to protect his teacher, but now, Baek Sung-yu has grown up and can become Sung-jae's formidable opponent. The next day, Yoon-soo had an appointment with Jung-ah. Jung-ah still didn't know that Yoon-soo was the tutor she wanted to entrust her daughter to. However, when she arrived at the restaurant, Yoon-soo went into another room to eat, leaving the director to talk to Jung-ah. He told her that the lecturer had something urgent to do, so he asked him to speak on her behalf. Afterwards, their conversation was recorded by Yoon-soo in the next room. The next day, Yoon-soo brought food to the orphanage to find Xia. She didn't expect Baek Sung-yu to be there too. He brought math toys to give to the children. Yoon-soo didn't want to see him, but Baek Sung-yu still followed her. He also gave Yoon-soo a new pair of shoes. He wanted her to wear shoes so her feet wouldn't hurt. On the other side, Yeren's mother began to suspect her husband of having an affair, so she immediately installed a wiretap under the steering wheel. At that time, her husband was with Jung-ah without knowing that he was being suspected. In another development, after investigating the camera in the library, Baek Sung-yu also got evidence. He took the initiative to meet the principal to show her. The embarrassing video made the principal feel embarrassed. To save her daughter's honor, she hoped Baek Sung-yu could forgive her, but he directly removed Jina from his project. After that, Jung-ah also had to accept Baek Sung-yu's decision. The old story was not over yet, but a new one came. The vice principal immediately ran in to report the shocking news to the principal. The story of Jung-ah taking advantage of the donation fund of poor students had been reported in the newspaper. She angrily called to question her younger sister Yeon, but she did not do this. No one could have guessed that the person who wrote the article was Yoon-soo. She had already recorded the conversation between Jung-ah and the director. She had actively enticed him to use the scholarship fund of poor students to do business. Congressman Sung-min also received this news and reported it to his lover Jung-ah. Her school would have an inspector coming for a check. On the other hand, Baek Sung-yu informed Xia that she had been cleared. Jina would be eliminated from the project, which made Xia extremely happy. Meanwhile, Jina was extremely angry. She was also gossiped about by her friends. When she bumped into Xia, Jina intended to attack her, but Xia reacted quickly and pushed Jina into the closet. She also did not forget to warn Jina not to joke with her. At this time, the online press was widely reporting that Asung School was embezzling. They had given the children of high-ranking officials easy questions to get high scores. Yoon-soo was shocked when she saw the news. She knew that the spy inside Asung High School was Baek Sung-yu. Yoon-soo was afraid that he did this to avenge for her. Unexpectedly, Baek Sung-yu not only wanted to expose the wrongdoings, but also wanted to clear up Yoon-soo's injustice from 4 years ago. In fact, Yoon-soo had not forgotten the past. She wanted to take revenge on those who had ruined her career, but she did not want Baek Sung-yu to be involved in this. Yoon-soo wanted her student to be able to live his own life. However, Baek Sung-yu insisted on helping her get justice darkness, just like how she had helped him step out of the darkness. Yoon-soo had no choice but to leave helplessly. After that, she went to the nursing home to visit her father. It had been a long time since her father had called her his daughter. When Yoon-soo's father knew that his daughter no longer felt the same love for mathematics as before, he advised Yoon-soo that any mathematician would have to go through that stage. Only then can they become real mathematicians. This made Yoon-soo burst into tears. As for Bak Sung-yu, he was invited to his friend's housewarming party. When he saw Ye-rin, he agreed. It seemed that Bak Sung-yu wanted to approach her to achieve his goal. Hearing Bak Sung-yu's arrival, Ye-rin unconsciously fixed her hair, making the class president jealous. Afterwards, Bak Sung-yu went out with Ye-rin to buy some snacks for the group. He even took the initiative to help her carry the things. It turned out that he approached Ye-rin just to confirm that she had taken a picture of him that year. But Bak Sung-yu did not blame Ye-rin. He thought she had her own reasons. Thinking about the mistakes she had made with Bak Sung-yu, Ye-rin could not help but cry. Unexpectedly, Yoon-soo also parked nearby and witnessed the scene of them together. She returned home, looked at the shoes that Bak Sung-yu gave her, and then remembered the scene of him and Ye-rin sitting next to each other. Yoon-soo suddenly felt confused. Then she put away his gift box. At the same time, Bak Sung-yu returned to the party table. When his friends asked, he said that he had someone he liked for a long time. Ye-rin was overjoyed when she heard that. Her heart was pounding. The next day, Yeon took her niece to the tutoring center and accidentally met Yoon-soo again. At the same time at school, Shi-ah was invited to meet Jung-ah. Jung-ah wanted to know who her math tutor at the center was, but Shi-ah was very tight-lipped. She refused to reveal anything. Jung-ah could not have expected that teacher was Yoon-soo, who was also the tutor she sent her daughter to. In the first class, Yoon-soo showed Jin-ah the video of her stealing the watch. This scene made Jin-ah extremely afraid of Yoon-soo, but instead of threatening, she chose to manipulate Jin-ah. Yoon-soo promised not to let anyone know about this video, but in return, she wanted to hear Jin-ah's honest thoughts about her mother. At this time, the mother was ordering the vice principal to destroy all the evidence before the inspector came to check. However, he did not know that Bak Sung-yu was following him. The next day, Bak Sung-yu opened his museum. High-ranking officials also came to congratulate him. After that, they went out to eat together. When they arrived at the restaurant, Bak Sung-yu discovered Yoon-soo's car parked nearby. He went inside and saw her shoes in front of the door of the next room. Bak Sung-yu sneaked into another room and texted Yoon-soo to ask if she was there. At this time, Jung-ah received a text message from the director saying that he was talking about her daughter with Jin-ah's teacher. Jung-ah wanted to know who the teacher was, so she decided to go out to meet this person. Unexpectedly, Jung-ah accidentally bumped into the waiter, forcing her to go to the bathroom to deal with it. Taking this opportunity, Bak Sung-yu called Yoon-soo out and pulled her hand away, but Sung-jae appeared ahead, forcing them to change their route. The figure running past was caught by Jung-ah. She realized that the shoes were gone. She quickly chased after them. When they reached the top floor, Bak Sung-yu revealed the incident to her. Soon after, the two saw Jung-ah had almost arrived. Bak Sung-yu had no choice but to hug Yoon-soo and pretend to be a couple in love. Even though the two were hugging, Jung-ah still deliberately went forward to check. But at that moment, the waiter appeared and called her down to eat. That gave the other two a chance to escape. Bak Sung-yu gave his coat to Yoon-soo, then returned to the banquet table. Mrs. Jung-ah felt that something was wrong with him, but she didn't know what it was. As for Yoon-soo, after leaving, she forgot her bag at the director's place. Yoon-soo returned home exhausted, and a series of painful memories from the past resurfaced. That night, when Yoon-soo wanted to defeat her long-standing perseverance, she had a high fever and could only ask Bak Sung-yu for help. He immediately ran to the apartment building and helped Yoon-soo to the hospital. The scene of Bak Sung-yu helping Yoon-soo was accidentally caught by the class president. On the other hand, Jung-ah reviewed the image of Bak Sung-yu arriving at the beginning and discovered that his vest was exactly the same as the suspicious person she had seen before. Returning to Yoon-soo, she was once again lost in the nightmare of the past and could not escape. Fortunately, Bak Sung-yu's call woke her up. Yoon-soo thought she was very strong, but when facing her old enemy, she trembled and had a fever. As for Ye-rin, she thought Bak Sung-yu liked her, so she took the initiative to ask him out to dinner. He looked at her text message and then looked at Yoon-soo. He promised Yoon-soo that he would make Ye-rin personally apologize to her at school. Meanwhile, the inspector came to arrest the math teacher to investigate the bribery scandal. Jung-ah received the news, but did not want to interfere in this case. It was clear that Jung-ah wanted to put all the responsibility on this teacher. In fact, the scandal was partly revealed by Bak Sung-yu to the reporter. Ye-rin's mother saw the news and panicked and fell off the treadmill. She immediately ran out to find her husband. Both were afraid that the math teacher would reveal Ye-rin's past incident. Today was also Ye-rin's birthday. Bak Sung-yu took the initiative to bring her a cake. Ye-rin invited him to dinner because she wanted to apologize for the past. Bak Sung-yu also calmly asked her about the old photo that was shown at Yoon-soo's wedding, asking who did it. Ye-rin admitted that she took the photo, but she was not the one who released the photo of the teacher on the wedding day. It was highly likely that the person who did that cruel thing was Jung-ah, because she was the only person Ye-rin showed the photo to. Bak Sung-yu did not blame her, but instead said words of comfort. Therefore, before Yerin was moved to tears. On the way back, she saw the class president preparing a cake for her. But seeing the cake Yerin was holding in her hand, the class president did not dare to give it to her. He reminded her to be careful with Baek Sung-yu, because the day before he saw Baek Sung-yu with Yoon-soo. As for Baek Sung-yu, he and the teacher got in the car to go somewhere else. This scene accidentally caught Yerin's eyes, making her jealous. Yerin went to find Jung-ah with resentment. Unexpectedly, her father was also there. He had to hide before his daughter caught him. Yerin told Jung-ah that Yoon-soo had returned. Then, she blamed Jung-ah for daring to take advantage of her old photo. The word, take advantage, made Jung-ah angry. She took the scissors and reminded Yerin of what happened back then. She did that to cover up her crime of buying Yerin's exam papers. Returning to Yoon-soo and her students, to help Yoon-soo relieve stress, Baek Sung-yu took her for a ride on his motorbike. Thanks to that, Yoon-soo's mood improved. When she returned home, she also agreed to wear the shoes that Baek Sung-yu had given her. Baek Sung-yu was able to hang out with Yoon-soo, so he smiled contentedly. The next day at school, the math teacher was fired. However, he was unwilling and went to find the principal to demand justice. However, the vice principal called security to drag him out. Baek Sung-yu successfully made the people who used to sit together now fight each other. Unexpectedly, that night, Yerin took the initiative to find Yoon-soo. She shamelessly thought that Yoon-soo was clinging to Baek Sung-yu. It was clear that Yerin was also the one who contributed to the ruin of Yoon-soo's career. But now, instead of apologizing to Yoon-soo, Yerin showed pity for her. This made Yoon-soo angry. She was determined not to forgive Yerin. Returning home, Yoon-soo threw herself into solving math problems. Only doing math could calm her down. However, Yoon-soo couldn't find the right answer. As for Baek Sung-yu, he couldn't contact Yoon-soo, so he went to find her. Right after that, Baek Sung-yu saw Yoon-soo driving out. He quickly chased after her to see where she went. But what they didn't expect was that a black car was following behind. It turned out that this was a stalker hired by Yeon. It was unclear what her purpose was. After Yoon-soo went to the library to find more math materials, she continued to flip through books, but still couldn't find the answer. While frantically searching for the answer, Yoon-soo was discovered by Baek Sung-yu. She immediately wanted to leave, but was held back by him. He reminded Yoon-soo why she tried to find the answer before solving it herself. Before, they had also solved a difficult math problem all night. Even though they couldn't find the solution, they still enjoyed the anxiety and climax of solving a math problem. So why did Yoon-soo give up halfway? Realizing the problem, Yoon-soo cried helplessly. Baek Sung-yu immediately hugged her tightly to comfort her. The close distance combined with the silent space made the two people's feelings ambiguous. Baek Sung-yu wanted to kiss her, but Yoon-soo managed to escape from these ambiguous feelings in time. Suddenly, there was a noise from afar. Baek Sung-yu and Yoon-soo realized that they were being followed. Immediately after, Baek Sung-yu chased after the stalker. Once outside, the stalker got into the car and drove away. However, this stalker was not hired by Yeon, but by Jung-ah. They thought that they had cut off all the followers, but the scene where Baek Sung-yu shielded Yoon-soo from the rain to get into the car was still captured by someone. In another scene, after seeing the photos provided by the photographer, Jung-ah had a huge headache when she found out that Baek Sung-yu was in league with Yoon-soo to take revenge on her. Not only that, Jung-ah had previously invited Baek Sung-yu to work at the school and entrusted Yoon-soo to teach her daughter. Now everything was in chaos. It was out of control, driving her crazy. On the other hand, Baek Sung-yu went to the nursing home to visit Professor. He waited until Yoon-soo's father fell asleep before confessing to him that he liked his daughter. Although they were forbidden in the past, Baek Sung-yu promised that in the future he would protect her by all means. Back to Jung-ah, she pretended very well. She even had time to dance happily with her father. In fact, to please him, Yeon also came to eat with her father. The position of president of Asung Group was about to be appointed to a new person. Between Jung-ah and Yeon, whoever's school performed better would be in power. In order to win over her younger sister, Jung-ah could not expel Baek Sung-yu from the school because she needed to use his math museum as a miracle. Yeon was also not to be outdone. She asked for Yoon-soo's phone number. Her purpose was to take advantage of Yoon-soo so that she could stir up a scandal at Asung High School, thereby overthrowing her older sister and making it easy for Yeon to take over as president of the group. Meanwhile, Baek Sung-yu held a new book release event. He also invited Yoon-soo to attend. She specially brought a flower to congratulate, but a reporter took a photo of the two of them. The snap startled Yoon-soo. Baek Sung-yu immediately asked the reporter to delete the photo he had just taken. Only when they were in a private place did Baek Sung-yu dare to take a photo with Yoon-soo. In the first photo, she smiled awkwardly, but in the second photo, she smiled at Baek Sung-yu's pleading. When they returned to the apartment, the two were accidentally caught by the class president and Yerin. Yerin did not dare to get out of the car, and the class president shamelessly went down. He wanted to cause trouble for Baek Sung-yu and Yoon-soo. In the face of the class president's provocative words, Yoon-soo calmly responded and left. Baek Sung-yu warned the class president not to bother his teacher. After that, he returned home to visit his parents. This was the first time Baek Sung-yu returned home in 4 years. Both parents had put past behind them and welcomed their son home. They had also been looking forward to their son for a long time. Baek Sung-yu took the initiative to cook his mother's favorite soup, and the family family atmosphere made the meal happier than ever. After finishing the meal with his parents, he did not forget to send a photo of them together to Yoon-soo. She happily looked at the photo when she received a text message from Yeon asking for a meeting. On the other side, Ye-rin also made an appointment for a meeting with the math teacher. He thought she wanted to help him. However, Ye-rin called him to warn him not to foolishly reveal her name, otherwise his crime would be even more serious. Back at school, the math problem that Xia asked Yoon-soo's father to solve was posted on the math page by Xia, and it coincidentally matched the thesis that the professor had researched, so Xia became a copycat. She quickly called Yoon-soo for help. Yoon-soo also did not expect that her father had included that problem in his thesis. Now Xia had to meet principal. She tried her best to explain that she did not intentionally plagiarize. Jung-ah did not care about that. What she cared about was whether that professor was Yoon-soo's father and whether Yoon-soo was Xia's guardian or not. Jung-ah forced Xia to reveal the identity of the guardian. Otherwise, she would cut off her scholarship and expel Xia from school. Xia had no choice but to call Yoon-soo to the school to save her, knowing it was dangerous, but Yoon-soo could not ignore it. She was forced to return to hell 4 years ago, the place that ruined her career. Meeting the woman who trampled on her life, Yoon-soo testified that Xia did not steal the thesis, but it was her father who helped Xia do the work. Jung-ah used Xia to threaten Yoon-soo, so she also used Jung-ah's daughter Ji-na to threaten back. Hearing that, Jung-ah immediately felt scared. She grabbed Yoon-soo's hand and sincerely apologized to her. Hearing the apology, Yoon-soo should have forgiven her, but unexpectedly, she laughed and mocked Yoon-soo for being so naive, saying there was no way she would ever apologize to Yoon-soo. This made Yoon-soo angry. Soon after, she went to the international school to see Yeon. Yoon-soo asked Yeon if she had any plans to bring down Jung-ah, because she knew that Yeon had a lot of bad evidence of Asong High School, but she couldn't use it directly because doing so would make her father angry. However, Yeon had another way, which was to investigate the scholarship fund that Jung-ah was working on. Soon after, Yoon-soo received news that Xia had been expelled from the center and had her scholarship cut. She immediately went to ask the director about the reason. It turned out that Jung-ah had gone to find the director. She had told him that Yoon-soo would sabotage the scholarship fund for the two of them, so he wanted to chase both her and Xia away. Before leaving, Yoon-soo kindly reminded him to be careful with Jung-ah because she was a poisonous snake. Jung-ah could betray and bite him at any time. When she returned home, Baek Sung-yu was already waiting for her. This time, Yoon-soo refused his help. She also wanted to cut ties with Baek Sung-yu because when talking to Jung-ah, she reminded Yoon-soo that she could destroy Baek Sung-yu's bright future if she let him get involved in this matter. So Yoon-soo was determined to put him aside. Instead, she would cooperate with her ex-husband Sung-jae. When Baek Sung-yu knew about this, he was deeply hurt. It turned out that the other path Yoon-soo had mentioned was Sung-jae. Baek Sung-yu didn't understand why she couldn't trust him. Baek Sung-yu and Yoon-soo had a big argument and then went their separate ways. Yoon-soo returned home. She couldn't stop thinking about the intimate moments with Baek Sung-yu. It seemed that Yoon-soo's feelings had really been moved by him. At the same time, Asong High School held a party to announce the establishment of the Math Museum. Baek Sung-yu was forced to go up to the podium to give a speech. Unexpectedly, he wrote the letters T and F, representing right and wrong. After that, Baek Sung-yu recalled the case from 4 years ago. He denounced his story to the media. Baek Sung-yu and teacher Yoon-soo had been wrongly accused. In fact, they had become victims whose stories had been blatantly turned from black to white. Hearing this, Jung-ah still tried to stay calm, although inside, she had wanted to tear Baek Sung-yu to pieces right away. Ye-rin was confused and uneasy. Right after his statement, the reporters immediately surrounded Baek Sung-yu and took pictures. Only then did Jung-ah feel scared. She tried to stop Baek Sung-yu, but in front of the press, Jung-ah did not dare to act rashly. Therefore, Baek Sung-yu was even more unscrupulous. He boldly declared in front of everyone that he would find the truth of the old case. Yoon-soo, at home, also saw the news. She knew that Baek Sung-yu had done this because he wanted to follow this case to the end. At the end of the party, Jung-ah questioned Baek Sung-yu, but he said that he had done it to increase the media effectiveness of Asong High School. That left her speechless. Meanwhile, Ye-rin and her mother could not hide their unease. Ye-rin suddenly felt regretful. If she had admitted her mistake to Yoon-soo that year, things would not have come to this. The more Ye-rin thought about it, the more she regretted it. She was so nervous that her blood pressure increased, and she had difficulty breathing. On the other side, Congressman Sung-min was anxiously talking to Jung-ah. He wanted to come up with a plan to deal with Baek Sung-yu. Suddenly, Sung-min received news that his daughter had been hospitalized. He immediately rushed there. Meanwhile, Yoon-soo also quickly went to find Baek Sung-yu. She asked him why he had taken such a risk, making himself a target for the enemy to attack. Baek Sung-yu answered her without hesitation. It turned out that he had done it because he didn't want Yoon-soo to become their target. Hearing that, she was extremely embarrassed. Just when Yoon-soo's resolve was about to waver, she discovered that someone had been following her from afar. Therefore, Yoon-soo had to pretend to say harsh words to avoid Baek Sung-yu. After Baek Sung-yu's statement, the more famous he became on TV, the more worried the bribe-giving parents became. Typical example was Ye-rin's mother. At the end of the meeting, she stayed to see Jung-ah alone, begging asking for help. By chance, Jung-ah's handbag keychain was exactly the same as the one Sung-min had given his wife. When she returned, she immediately dragged her husband to ask for the truth. Although Ye-rin's mother had the recording, it was just a normal conversation between the congressman and Jung-ah. The congressman was angry that his wife had been following him, so he ignored her and left. Back to Baek Sung-yu. His speech had been seen by his parents. They didn't want their son to get into trouble and get involved with teacher Yoon-soo because Baek Sung-yu was currently at peak of his career. However, Baek Sung-yu insisted on following his own thoughts. Because of that, he and his father had a big argument. Meanwhile, at school, the rich kids were gossiping about Baek Sung-yu and Yoon-soo. Shia couldn't stand it anymore. She stood up and argued with them. Jina saw that and immediately revealed that Shia also studied at the center where Yoon-soo taught. Jina also knew that Baek Sung-yu would be disciplined by the school and might be forced to quit his job because of his statement. Therefore, taking advantage of the situation, Jina provoked Shia. Unexpectedly, Shia's response left Jina speechless. As for Yoon-soo, her life was also affected a lot. Ye-rin's mother didn't know where to get the information, so she went to Yoon-soo's house to cause trouble. Meanwhile, Ye-rin was called by Jung-ah to make a deal. She gave Ye-rin the photos of Yoon-soo and Baek Sung-yu together. Now she gave Ye-rin full authority to handle them. On the other hand, Yoon-soo went to see Yeon. She gave Yoon-soo something useful that would help Yeon defeat Jung-ah. It was a list related to her ransom fund and the center director. What Yeon needed to do was find evidence that Jung-ah was embezzling money from the fund and pocketing it for herself. Yoon-soo didn't expect that Yeon would even call Sung-jae here. Sung-jae's mother really liked Yeon, so she could be proud in front of Yoon-soo. However, Sung-jae didn't give her any face. He said straight out that he didn't want to marry her. In such an awkward situation, Yoon-soo didn't want to get involved in the two of them, so she left first. But Yoon-soo accidentally left her phone behind. Sung-jae took the opportunity to meet her again. At the same time, Baek Sung-yu came to meet his old friends. The class president deliberately asked him if he still liked Yoon-soo. Unexpectedly, Baek Sung-yu didn't hesitate to confirm his feelings. Ye-rin couldn't help but feel dazed after hearing that, but she still ran after him and confessed her feelings. Baek Sung-yu rejected Ye-rin's feelings. He didn't think it was love, but just selfishness and jealousy. Ye-rin was speechless. The class president couldn't bear to see her in pain, so he dragged Ye-rin out. On the other hand, when Yoon-soo got home, she realized that he had forgotten his phone. At the same time, Baek Sung-yu worriedly called her, but the one who answered the call was Sung-jae. He drove straight to Sung-jae and asked him why he had Yoon-soo's phone. Sung-jae didn't answer, but blamed Baek Sung-yu for his stupid statement. Sung-jae said that if the truth couldn't be proven, the one who would be hurt the most would still be Yoon-soo. But Baek Sung-yu wasn't easily swayed. He took his phone back and ran to Yoon-soo's apartment. Standing upstairs looking down, she saw someone secretly taking pictures of Baek Sung-yu. Yoon-soo was worried about him and immediately ran downstairs. As soon as Yoon-soo got downstairs, she met him in the middle of the street. She reminded Baek Sung-yu that he was being followed. Hearing this, Baek Sung-yu returned the phone to Yoon-soo and then lured the follower away. At a deserted intersection, the stalker lost track of Baek Sung-yu. He went deep into the alley, but the stalker only saw Baek Sung-yu's motorcycle parked outside. He suddenly rushed out and grabbed the camera. Then the two struggled fiercely. Hearing the police in the distance, as if by instinct, the stalker was startled and knocked Baek Sung-yu unconscious. Immediately after, he was taken to the hospital by the police. Yoon-soo heard the news and immediately ran to the hospital. Seeing Baek Sung-yu unconscious on the hospital bed, Yoon-soo could not control her emotions. She burst into tears and blamed herself. Because of Yoon-soo, this young man was in danger. Fortunately, Baek Sung-yu only suffered minor injuries and woke up soon. Yoon-soo drove him home. She did not mention what had just happened, only reminded him to stay safe. The next day, Baek Sung-yu went to see the math teacher. He hoped the teacher would testify for him, and in return, he promised to protect and support teacher after the lawsuit. Otherwise, Jung-ah's people would put all the blame on him. The math teacher of course understood this, but he did not dare to denounce. He was also very grateful that after that incident, Baek Sung-yu still considered him teacher. Meanwhile, the person he had sold his professional ethics to did not consider him at all. On the other hand, the vice principal was ordered by Jung-ah. He went to find a reporter who specialized in writing slanderous articles. The vice principal did not forget to put a bribe envelope in the book. He hoped that the reporter would write a bad article about Baek Sung-yu. At this time, he was going to see Ye-rin. Baek Sung-yu wanted to tell her the truth. He would go and denounce everything that happened 4 years ago. Ye-rin still stubbornly advised Baek Sung-yu not to let Yoon-soo take advantage of her, but he directly threw cold water on her face. Baek Sung-yu admitted that he had feelings for Yoon-soo. Therefore, he would do everything to protect her. After this sentence, Ye-rin completely lost her temper. She decided to use the photo that Jung-ah sent to bring Yoon-soo down. At this time, Yoon-soo was with Shi-ah when she received an urgent call from the nurse. She immediately ran to the nursing home. Her father's situation was getting worse. He didn't eat and just buried himself in solving math problems. He asked his daughter if she had solved a problem that bothered her. Yoon-soo unconsciously replied that she was afraid that when she received the problem, she would be immersed in it and not be able to get out. Baek Sung-yu was such this problem. On the other hand, Baek Sung-yu received Shi-ah's news. news. He also quickly ran to the nursing home. As soon as Yoon-soo saw him, she was flustered and left. Bak Sung-yu immediately chased after her. He pulled Yoon-soo to a corner and hugged her tightly, as if he was afraid that she would leave again. Bak Sung-yu wanted to solve the problem that was giving Yoon-soo a headache. He would make all those who harmed them pay. After that, no one would have the right to judge their feelings anymore. However, Yoon-soo firmly rejected Bak Sung-yu's feelings. She said that if their love was a mathematical problem, it would have been wrong from the start. Therefore, trying to find the answer would be useless. The next day, Bak Sung-yu did exactly as he said. He brought the evidence to the police station to report Jo-ma. Suddenly, the reporter who received the bribe stopped him. He played the recording of Bak Sung-yu admitting to loving Yoon-soo. This was what he said to Ye-rin yesterday and was recorded by her. The reporter continuously attacked Bak Sung-yu. He thought that he loved the teacher who had been expelled from the school, so he was now trying to blame the principal of Asong High School. Bak Sung-yu was confused for a moment, but he still went to the police station to file a complaint. After coming out, Bak Sung-yu tried to keep his composure in the face of the provocative words. At the same time, in the meeting to appoint a new board chairman, Yeon also stood up to accuse her older sister, Jung-ah. She had taken advantage of the Asung High School scholarship fund for personal gain. She showed the evidence that Yoon-soo had given her. Sure enough, this slap made Jung-ah's face turn pale. She asked for an explanation, but her father dismissed her. He wanted to investigate this matter himself. If this was true, he would remove Jung-ah from her position as principal. She was furious. Jung-ah was determined not to let this happen, so she deliberately stayed to convince her father that the money had been taken from the fund to pay for parent counseling. Therefore, there was no way she could have profited from it for her own benefit. Jung-ah also believed that only her ideals could have helped her father take over Asam School, and Yeon would never have been able to do that because she was the one who understood why he was in his current position. Jung-ah and Yeon were both crazy. For their own interests, they could tear each other apart and harm each other. To take revenge on her younger sister, Jung-ah didn't hesitate to accelerate and drive straight toward her opponent. Yeon wasn't one to back down either, as she bravely charged forward as well. But seeing her older sister's excessive madness, Yeon was forced to swerve to avoid the collision. Seeing this, Yuma laughed out loud with glee. To her, this was recklessness that no one could overcome. As for Yeon, Jung-ah was just a crazy person. Meanwhile, the video of Bak Sung-yu publicly declaring his love for the teacher was sent to Yoon-soo by Ye-rin. She immediately went to find Ye-rin. Before, Yoon-soo used to think that Ye-rin's evilness was caused by adults, but now she understood that there were children who were born with jealousy towards others. Therefore, what happened to Bak Sung-yu was caused by Ye-rin, not just the fault of the adults. Ye-rin was left speechless, choking with anger. After that meeting, she drove the class president's car like crazy on the road. The class president had to take back the steering wheel for the car to stop. Otherwise, a terrible accident could have happened. Ye-rin admitted that Yoon-soo was right. Her jealousy had been hurting her heart. At the same time, the more Yoon-soo read the newspaper, the more worried she became about Bak Sung-yu. She couldn't contact him, so she rushed out to look for him. Unexpectedly, Bak Sung-yu was waiting for her in the apartment lobby. Bak Sung-yu was weakened by love. He hugged Yoon-soo tightly and begged her to leave this painful place with him. Yoon-soo agreed to this request for the first time. She drove him out of the city. After that, the two of them had a very happy time together, like a real couple. The next day, Bak Sung-yu woke up in a strange room. Not seeing Yeon, he was a bit worried and ran everywhere looking for Yoon-soo. He was afraid of losing her again. Finally, Bak Sung-yu found her making a fire in the yard. The place was very quiet and it was snowing. This was the right place to heal the wounds of two people. The two of them cooked a delicious meal together, ate and laughed happily. At the same time, Congressman Sung-min stood before the press and dismissed Bak Sung-yu's complaint. He was aggressively asserting that his daughter did not cheat. At that moment, the math teacher walked in. The congressman was forced to stop speaking and go out to meet the math teacher privately. The teacher demanded that Congressman pay him hush money. Unexpectedly, the congressman recorded it. Now, if the teacher dared to act rashly, Sung-min would accuse him of blackmail. At this time, Jung-ah proactively resigned to avoid scandal for a while. At the same time, she handed over the principal's position to the vice principal. Of course, Jung-ah only saw this person as a puppet to control when needed. As for Bak Sung-yu, he received the news but still ignored everything to enjoy these rare times with Yoon-soo. Meanwhile, Ye-rin's mother came to cause trouble with Bak Sung-yu's family. His mother could not hold back anymore. She directly told Ye-rin's mother what she had witnessed. Bak Sung-yu's mother saw Congressman Sung-min being intimate with Principal Jung-ah. So, Ye-rin's mother immediately gathered the other parents and went to the principal's office. She asked Jung-ah to explain the matter. When the noise died down, Jung-ah began to clarify the matter. She asked which of the parents below had not been helped by her power. Didn't their husbands come to Jung-ah to help their children advance? The other parents' expressions changed when they heard this, and they immediately made excuses to avoid the principal's questioning. Ye-rin's mother wanted to run away but couldn't make it in time, and Jung-ah pushed her down on the chair. Now that there were only two people in the room, Jung-ah admitted that she and Congressman Sung-min were really having an affair. Ye-rin's mother was angry and left. Jung-ah was angry when she saw her signboard turned upside down, and she went to the vice principal principal to question her. Jung-ah warned the vice principal not to dream of overthrowing her. The humiliated vice principal knelt down to apologize, but when he went out, he got angry and started planning revenge. After that, Jung-ah called the congressman, asking him to manage his wife well and not let his wife bother her anymore. This was accidentally heard by Ye-rin. She could not accept the fact that her father and teacher were having an affair. The more the congressman tried to explain, the more Jung-ah ruined it. She also added that they were involved because they were helping Ye-rin study. Ye-rin could not accept this fact. She vowed not to forgive the principal and her father. The congressman returned home and had to endure his wife's anger. He justified that he was seduced by the principal and that he had never crossed the line with her. But the more Sung-min explained, the more the tension rose. Back to Baek Sung-yu. After listening to the piano, the two went into the music room to continue enjoying the music. Suddenly, he received a phone call from the police. Baek Sung-yu then asked for permission to go out for a while. He had just gone out not long when Yoon-soo had disappeared. Baek Sung-yu searched everywhere, but to no avail. It turned out that she and his father had had a conversation before. He hoped that she would stay away from her son so that he could have a peaceful life. Yoon-soo thought about it and agreed. Baek Sung-yu couldn't find Yoon-soo, but received a call from Sung-jae. After all, he was the victim that year, so Sung-jae wanted to uncover the truth with Baek Sung-yu. So the two decided to cooperate with each other. Baek Sung-yu gave Sung-jae a USB. It contained documents related to Jung-ah's fund corruption. He asked Sung-jae to investigate the rest further. Baek Sung-yu then left first. He went to find the math teacher and told him that Jung-ah had resigned as principal to escape punishment. Now the math teacher had no choice but to tell the truth. Then he went to find the vice principal. Unexpectedly, the vice principal agreed to help the math teacher overthrow Jung-ah. However, what the math teacher did not expect was that when he returned to the hospital to visit his mother, he found that his mother had been transferred to the high-class room by Jung-ah. She also left him an envelope for the hospital fees. The math teacher was faced with a difficult choice. He did not know whose side to follow. The next day, Baek Sung-yu, Jung-ah, and the congressman all had to go to the police station to receive an investigation. Regarding the leaked exam papers 4 years ago, one side blamed the bad guys. The other side tried to deny their guilt. Almost neither side would give in. In the midst of the intense fight, two witnesses suddenly appeared, making both Jung-ah and Baek Sung-yu widen their eyes in surprise. Those two people were none other than Yoon-soo and the math teacher. The math teacher admitted that 4 years ago, Ye-rin's mother had bribed him to get the answers for the exam. The principal had also known about this and had allowed the math teacher to release the answers, but she told him to pretend that the principal had not known anything. On Yoon-soo's side, she declared that Ye-rin's answer was identical to the answer for the exam before it was corrected. Therefore, she wanted to review Ye-rin's answer. So, the principal found a way to make all the students retake the exam. Unexpectedly, a student ruined that plan. Yoon-soo also had the meeting minutes related to the retake that year. This was what the vice principal had searched through the files and given to her. Originally, the principal had given him this to destroy, but he kept it as a way out for himself, and now it had come into play. It helped Yoon-soo expose everything. At the end of the investigation, Jung-ah and the congressman had suffered a bitter defeat. Yoon-soo had the chance to regain his dignity in front of Jung-ah, making her so angry that she couldn't hold back. As for the math teacher, the reason he chose to follow the right path was because he saw that his mother was close to death. The math teacher had awakened. He didn't want to live a lie for the rest of his life, so he decided to atone for his sins. Yoon-soo also didn't let Ye-rin escape. She began to pay the price for her actions. Ye-rin went crazy and tore up all the awards and certificates she had received. The mother cried and begged her. Now she was starting to feel scared. Meanwhile, Yoon-soo met Baek Sung-yu at police station. She wanted him to stop participating in this case. Yoon-soo wanted him to continue pursuing his career in mathematics. She would handle the rest. At the same time, Sung-jae also broke up with Yeon. From the beginning, their relationship was just a cooperative one, and he did not love her. This was seen by Jung-ah, so she specially brought sushi to find her younger sister. Jung-ah was confident because she had investigated that Yeon had planted a spy in the Ministry of Education. She was scared when she heard that. In order to avoid being dragged to the police station by her older sister, she could only promise to withdraw the accusations made at the last meeting. Thanks to that, Jung-ah's relationship with her father became as good as before. She was reinstated as principal. Ye-rin and her mother were not so lucky. The mother was arrested for bribing teachers. Ye-rin had all her documents confiscated to investigate that fraud case. The congressman had no choice but to call Jung-ah for help. She knew what was going on and told him how to solve it, and the only way to solve it now was to make his wife take all the blame. Only then would his daughter and everyone else be free of the crime. Sung-min listened and told his wife to take the blame for her daughter. If she didn't, the whole family would be implicated. Very quickly, the news of Ye-rin's mother being arrested spread everywhere. When Baek Sung-yu's parents found out, they were both happy and worried for their son. The father also accidentally told Yoon-soo that he had gone to see her and asked her to stay away from his son. At that moment, Baek Sung-yu was behind and heard it. He was extremely upset by his father's actions. Baek Sung-yu realized that this was the reason why she always wanted to push him away. This only made him want to help her receive an apology for the mistake 4 years ago. So Baek Sung Sung-yu decided to go find Ye-rin. The two realized that they had to join forces to make the principal take responsibility. Otherwise, she would put all the blame on the math teacher and Ye-rin's mother. Ye-rin heard this and immediately ran to find Jung-ah. She wouldn't let her put the blame on her mother. However, this woman was very good at manipulating psychology, and soon, Ye-rin had to accept the truth. In contrast, Yoon-soo and Baek Sung-yu began to organize their lives. Both wanted to move towards a better future. They understood that only by forgetting the past and living for the present could they be happy. Sung-jae handed over all the evidence to a prosecutor friend of Yoon-soo's on her behalf. The purpose was to investigate case further. As for Yeon, when her father knew that she couldn't hold a man's heart, he thought that Yeon was not qualified to hold the position of Phi principal. Yeon immediately became scared and determined to prove her worth. She forced Sung-jae to greet her father. She asked him out to talk and meet. Yeon decided to cancel the wedding with him on the condition that he be engaged to her first. As long as Sung-jae helped her gain a strong position in the upcoming board meeting, Sung-jae thought this was unnecessary, as he would soon pull Jung-ah down on Yeon's behalf. Soon, Christmas arrived. Shia specially invited Baek Sung-yu to the Ki orphanage to attend the Christmas ceremony with her. At the ceremony, Baek Sung-yu met Yoon-soo again. While Shia ran over and linked arms with the two, the three of them listened to the children's choir sing. At the end of the party, the three of them took a group photo as a souvenir. They looked like a happy little family. Afterwards, Baek Sung-yu announced to Yoon-soo that he would return to being a math teacher, which she also wanted. She also promised to live well. They would meet again when Shia became a mathematician. After that, they said goodbye to each other, and each went their separate ways. Baek Sung-yu knew that he couldn't rush this time. He had to prove the solution to the love problem. The next day, Baek Sung-yu returned to school. Jung-ah was reappointed as principal. Shia welcomed Baek Sung-yu very warmly, but it seemed like she wanted to say something to him but stopped. In fact, Shia discovered that Jina had a book containing all the answers to the exam. She immediately took a photo and sent it to Yoon-soo. Yoon-soo had once given Shia a book with the same cover. It was stamped by the center. Could it be that this center printed the answers for special students at Asung School? Yoon-soo couldn't help but be suspicious and decided to bring the image of the textbook to question the director. However, he just denied everything as if he didn't know anything. At school, when Jina entered the classroom, she received a text message accusing her of having the exam answers. She knew that Shia had searched her school bag. Therefore, Jina decided to deal with her. A moment later, in response to the students' screams, Baek Sung-yu rushed over and found Shia unconscious in a pool of blood. The plaster statue in the art room was also shattered. Baek Sung-yu immediately called an ambulance and went with her. He also did not forget to call Yoon-soo to inform her, but at this time, she did not answer the phone because she was busy questioning the director. Yoon-soo affirmed that she was not afraid of confronting him and Jung-ah. A moment later, Yoon-soo went out and read the text message from Baek Sung-yu. She panicked and ran to the hospital. At this time, Shia-ah's condition was very critical and she needed urgent surgery. While waiting, Yoon-soo recalled the phone call with Shia. Before she hung up, Yoon-soo heard another voice calling her. It was very possible that person was the culprit who caused Shia's current situation. At the same time, the Asan Group's board held a meeting to transfer the position of new board chairman. Both Jung-ah and Yeon were the two candidates with the most votes, so they were invited outside while the meeting inside continued to reach a conclusion. After 30 minutes, both of them walked in and received the results announced. Jung-ah was chosen for the position of group chairman. This made Yeon feel jealous and resentful. Jung-ah proudly held the bouquet of flowers and accepted everyone's congratulations. However, there was little joy, but much sadness. Before she could be happy, she received bad news. The police were surrounding the art room to investigate the scene. Jung-ah was even more frightened when she found out that her daughter was the culprit of this incident. Jina was sitting in a corner. She could only follow her mother's orders and pretend that she knew nothing about it. Jung-ah hurriedly ran back to the office and locked the door. She forced her daughter to tell her the whole story. After hearing it, she completely collapsed. At the same time, the homeroom teacher also shared what she had heard with Baek Sung-yu. It turned out that before Shia had an accident, Jina had a tense expression and said that she would deal with Shia. Immediately after that, the students screamed. From that moment on, the homeroom teacher never saw Jina again. To be sure, Baek Sung-yu went to the police station to check the camera. After confirming the culprit, he immediately called Yoon-soo to inform her. At the same time, Jung-ah also called her lawyer. She thought the lawyer had come to see her, but Jung-ah did not expect that the person who opened the door was the vice principal. Following him were Yoon-soo, Baek Sung-yu, and the police. Seeing the police there, she could not keep calm. Her mind was in turmoil and panic. The police showed Jung-ah the camera footage, which recorded Jina rushing out of the art room. However, the principal still stubbornly denied all the evidence. She thought that it was not convincing enough to convict her daughter. The police clearly saw that Jung-ah was trying to protect Jina to the end, despite the clear evidence. Soon after, Jung-ah's lawyer also arrived. When confronting the police, she was even more confident in denying everything with the support of a good lawyer. The police could only temporarily put aside questioning Jina. After everyone left, the lawyer sat down and told Jung-ah how to end the case. That was to find every reason to to reconcile with the victim's family. Otherwise, her daughter would become the murderer and her career would be ruined. Yong-ah initially refused to lower herself to beg others, but now she had no choice, because this was the only option. As for Xia, after the surgery, she was still in a coma. Even though the doctors were experienced, they could not determine when she would wake up. On the other hand, Yong-ah returned home and immediately deleted all the messages on her daughter's phone. Gina was in a panic at this time, but she still tried to follow her mother's words. At the same time, Gina refused to admit that she was the one who attacked Xia. Yong-ah had already lost trust in her daughter, and after this incident, she no longer trusted her daughter. Yong-ah was certain that Gina was the one who had attacked Xia. Gina could not prove what she said, so she could only remain silent. In the upcoming trial, Yong-ah just wanted to pretend that she knew nothing and hope that Xia would remain in a coma so that she could not denounce her daughter. On the contrary, Yoon-soo kept praying for Xia to recover quickly. The next day, on the day of the trial, Congressman Sung-min personally took his wife to court. When he stood before the press, he affirmed that he had no knowledge of his wife and daughter's fraudulent behavior. This made his wife feel extremely resentful, but she had to accept it. Meanwhile, Ye-rin watched the live broadcast at home and could not help but feel indignant. Her younger brother wanted to say something about school, but then stopped. At Jung-ah's villa, she discovered that her daughter Gina had disappeared. She called her daughter, but could not reach her, which made her extremely worried. The police received news of Gina's disappearance, and they assumed that this was an excuse for the murderer to refuse to give a statement. Therefore, the police could only temporarily stop the investigation. At this time, Jung-ah had to run to her younger sister Yeon's house. She hoped that her daughter would be scared and hide there, but no matter how hard she searched, she could not find her. Yeon herself did not know where her niece was, and she did not understand what had happened, that her older sister had to come to her house just to find her daughter. At Ye-rin's now house, her younger brother also suddenly disappeared. He only left his textbook and answer key on the table. Unexpectedly, Ye-rin's younger brother was with Baek Sung-yu. Soon after, Ye-rin also went to see him. When Baek Sung-yu asked Ye-rin's younger brother about the textbook, Ye-rin knew that her younger brother had it, but the boy replied that he did not. Not stopping there, when Baek Sung-yu mentioned Xia's situation, Ye-rin's younger brother appeared extremely scared and immediately found an excuse to leave. At the same time, at school, Jung-ah couldn't find her daughter, so she summoned all the parents. She collected all the textbooks and answer keys. All the parents didn't know that this book was the answer key for the exam. They just thought that these were advanced exercises compiled by the principal. However, instead of destroying them, Jung-ah chose to hide them in her secret safe. After finishing everything, she went crazy because she couldn't call her daughter. She was afraid that her daughter would do something stupid. Suddenly, Jin-ah appeared in front of her. She immediately ran to hug her daughter, but Jung-ah was pushed away because it was Ye-rin. It turned out that everything was just principal's illusion. Jung-ah was so worried that she couldn't recognize the truth. Ye-rin came here to ask about textbook and answer keys. When Jung-ah saw the photo, she almost went crazy. Jung-ah wanted to grab it back to delete the photo, but was pushed down by Lee Ye-rin. The fall caused potted plants she was trying to take care of to shatter. They were like the embodiment of the collapse of this school. Ye-rin looked at Jung-ah's miserable appearance. She also realized that she could not continue to go down the wrong path. On the other side, Jina sneaked out of the house to visit Xia in the hospital. When she returned, she was caught by Yoon-soo. Jina saw this and quickly ran away, but this scene was also caught by Baek Sung-yu. He rushed over in time and saved her life. After that, they had a conversation together. Yoon-soo did not force her or threaten her with anything. On the contrary, she calmed Jina's panicked spirit. After the three of them arrived at a quiet place, Yoon-soo directly deleted the documents related to Jina. She also sincerely apologized to Jina for intending to take advantage of her to take revenge on Jung-ah. This could be said to be a humane psychological manipulation technique of Yoon-soo. When Jina saw that Yoon-soo and Baek Sung-yu trusted her so much, she decided to tell them the whole truth. It turned out that after Xia discovered the incident about the textbook, Xia also wanted to report the textbook to the Ministry of Education. Hearing that, Jina desperately wanted to grab Xia's phone to destroy the evidence. During the struggle, both of them were pushed down, and Xia's phone also fell to the floor. At that time, Xia bent down to pick it up, and Jina tried to push Xia away to get the phone, but because of that push, Xia hit the pedestal of the statue. Therefore, the plaster statue fell and hit her head. Jina was also very frightened by that scene and deeply regretted her actions. Finally, the truth was told. Baek Sung-yu and Yoon-soo did not blame Jina because they knew she did not do it on purpose. It was just an unexpected accident. Afterwards, Yoon-soo immediately took her to the hospital room to visit Xia. Seeing her friend still unconscious on the hospital bed, Jina could only hold Xia's hand and cry and apologize to her. With the encouragement of the two teachers, Jina decided to go to the police station to confess her crime. Soon after, Jung-ah also went to the police station when she knew that her daughter was there. Police told her that this was an unintentional accident, so they could not convict Jina. Jung-ah could not help but be suspicious when she heard this, but she still took her daughter back. However, Jung-ah still did not believe that her daughter was innocent. She thought that the statement just now was made up and threatened her daughter not to reveal the textbook textbook answer book. After handling everything properly, Jung-ah dared to run to see her father. The father thought that his daughter had really solved this mess, so he decided to give her the position of Ah-sung Foundation president. On the day of the inauguration ceremony, seeing that Yeon did not dare to come, Jung-ah was overjoyed, but she did not know that her younger sister was planning with Sung-jae to expose her true face. Thanks to his connections, Sung-jae was able to have the prosecutor expose the truth about principal of Ah-sung's school, along with the accomplices involved. Not only that, he also contacted reporters and asked them to quickly put up the article. When all the delegates unanimously elected Jung-ah as the president of the council, the congressman, and she received the article denouncing her. Soon after, all the delegates also received the same article. Jung-ah was confused and had no words to defend herself. At the same time, Yeon was sitting at home enjoying the feeling of revenge. This news quickly spread, and it was even broadcast on national television. Meanwhile, the police went to Ah-sung's school to collect evidence. Jung-ah ran back, and at that moment the police had pulled out her secret safe. They asked Jung-ah to open the safe, but she refused, so they had to find the key. Finally, they found the key hidden under the flower pot, and when she opened the safe, Jung-ah closed her eyes and waited for her punishment. However, when they opened it, there was nothing inside. She thought the vice principal hid it for her. Therefore, as soon as she was arrested and taken to the police station for investigation, Jung-ah ordered the vice principal to call a lawyer to save her. Unexpectedly, right after that, the vice principal came to find Baek Sung-yu and gave him all the evidence. They were all important evidence to denounce the incident 4 years ago, as well as the matter of the principal leaking the answers for the midterm exam. After that, Baek Sung-yu and Yoon-soo went to the nursing home. They came to take him to the hospital to visit Shia. Yoon-soo hoped that he could help Shia wake up. While the professor held Shia's hand and prayed for her, Yoon-soo received an important call. The caller was the principal's daughter Ji-na, and she brought all the evidence of her mother's crime. Even more surprising, in the pile of evidence Ji-na brought, there was Shia's phone and a USB. It was clear data about the amount of money they had embezzled from the Asong fund. At the same time, the professor patiently talked to Shia while playing chess. Surprisingly, a miracle happened. Shia had woken up at some point. Yoon-soo and Baek Sung-yu were extremely happy with her recovery. Later, when all the truth was revealed, Yoon-soo put aside past hatred and decided to go to a middle school to become a math teacher. Sometimes she would meet students with fresh perspectives on mathematics, just like Baek Sung-yu did in the past. It turned out that when Jung-an knew that all the documents had fallen into the hands of the police, she began to suspect those who might have betrayed her. However, no matter how she thought, she never thought about her daughter. Jung-ah and the embezzlers began to blame each other. No one would admit that they were the masterminds in this incident, all claiming that they were the victims and knew nothing about this. Then they fought each other, especially Congressman Sung-min, who was very good at shirking responsibility, and Jung-ah tried to ignore it. However, her bewilderment did not last long when Jung-ah was shocked when her daughter posted all the exam questions online. Immediately, the teacher involved ran away. The vice principal also left a resignation letter and disappeared. The press began to buzz about this incident. When Baek Sung-yu realized that the opportunity had come, he stood in front of the press and publicly revealed the remaining textbooks. Jung-ah was at home watching the news live. She couldn't figure out where he got those textbooks from. Those involved kept calling Jung-ah, but she didn't dare to answer the phone. Jung-ah knew that her end had come. Even Yeon couldn't avoid being involved. Jung-ah ran to the school she had worked so hard to build a reputation for. Then she started to go crazy because she was about to lose everything. Now the only asset Jung-ah had left was her daughter, but now even Ji-na had turned her back on her. This officially caused Jung-ah to collapse. On the other side, the congressman and his wife were also very panicked. They suddenly saw their daughter appear in the media to clarify the incident from 4 years ago. Ye-rin bravely stood in front of the press and admitted to her fraud years ago. In order to cover up this incident, principal smeared the reputation of a devoted teacher named Yoon-soo. After 4 years of humiliation, Yoon-soo was finally cleared. As for the center director, after being persuaded by Yoon-soo, he finally agreed to turn himself in. Now Jung-ah's crimes were piled high. However, she was still stubborn in her ideal of cultivating geniuses for the country, even though no one believed her excuses. The prison door was now wide open waiting for her. When everything was exposed, Yoon-soo agreed to meet Sung-jae. She admitted that if she had not been framed, they could have been a happy couple by now. Sung-jae acknowledged that Baek Sung-yu was not just talking. He really helped Yoon-soo clear his name after many years of being in a bad reputation, something Sung-jae could not do. In another development, the math teacher, after confessing, started his life over and now has a happy new life. However, he still did not forget and asked for a photo with Baek Sung-yu as a souvenir. Ye-rin gave up the spotlight and gradually accepted the class president's pursuit. As for Baek Sung-yu and Yoon-soo, after all, they took a complete family photo with the professor and Shia. After that, the three of them took the professor back to the nursing home where he had lived for so many years, and for the first time, the professor thanked Yoon-soo for not abandoning him even though he had abandoned her for a long time. After that, the professor gently breathed his last breath and ended his life. Although Yoon-soo was heartbroken, she knew that her father had passed away peacefully, and Baek Sung-yu and Shia could not help but choke up at his passing. After that, they built a grave together for the professor. The next day, when Baek Sung-yu and Yoon-soo were sorting out the deceased's belongings, they suddenly realized that the seemingly meaningless notes were actually the correct answers that he had been researching all his life. Soon after, Baek Sung-yu and Yoon-soo sorted out all the documents and were finally able to confirm that the topic had been successfully proven by the professor. Now, Baek Sung-yu no longer had a reason to stay with Yoon-soo, and he planned to go somewhere far away to develop his career and fulfill the professor's wish. 3 years later, things had changed a lot. Jina had returned to Korea from abroad to visit Yoon-soo, and she brought Yoon-soo to meet her mother. Now, Juma was no longer conscious, but she could still realize that she had made a mistake. The geniuses she had built were not grateful to her, and in the end, she realized that there were no real geniuses. Yoon-soo accepted to forgive her. Jina also volunteered to stay and take care of her mother. After many years, Shia has now successfully become a mathematician. She never forgets the care that Yoon-soo gave her. On the day Shia received her mathematics degree, Baek Sung-yu also kept his promise. He returned to see Yoon-soo at the place where they first met. It was still the familiar face of the past, except that now Baek Sung-yu also carried Yoon-soo's father's passion. He published it into a book, true to her father's wishes, and above all, he and Yoon-soo were able to overcome all the obstacles. In the end, Baek Sung-yu also proved his love problem. Although it was difficult, it was not without a solution. Now the two have spent their sweet days together. They can be together happily ever after. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and see you again.